right. Welcome back, everybody, to an all-new episode of Much to Do About Nothing. It's been a while. I needed a mental health break. I got it. I'm recharged. I'm ready to go. Thank you to Joel, who was patient with me during that time. But we are back. Welcome back, Joel.
Welcome back, Juwaan.
Absolutely. Glad to be back. We were actually just talking about the Knicks. Obviously, you guys know we always talk about the Knicks when we do our Much to Do About Nothing podcast. They've been playing really well lately. In the 2 or 3 games Julius Randle was out, I legit said to myself, oh, RJ is about to go full Jeremy Lin. And they did. The team played amazing. And then I said, oh, no, Julius is cleared to come back. Please don't do what Melo did when he came back. Where it was just like, oh, the ball is just not moving. It is not moving like Jeremy Lin had it moving. And again, I want to be very clear. I don't say that to call out Julius Randle. It's really hard when you've been playing a certain way for a long time, especially last year, to work your way out of it just now because it's not working. You know what I'm saying? It's very difficult to go, all right, I had the ball in my hand. I was the assist guy, the rebound guy, the points guy, and we were winning. Now you're telling me not to do any of that. And it's like,
well, it's not working anymore, Julius. Try something new.
Right. And I think he kind of like Melo, it's just not in him to just abruptly change everything he's ever known as far as like, I'm the guy. And it's like, well, there's this other guy named RJ. He's kind of looking like he's the guy. You should maybe give the keys to him. And I think Julius Randle is struggling with that. Like, he's not the kind of guy that just fits in where he gets in. He kind of feels like, oh, no, I need to dominate the ball. Not tonight, Jules. RJ is on a tear. Yeah. Let him just go.
He's got to learn to play, off the ball. And it's not easy for him.
Not at all. Which is weird knowing that Julius Randle once upon a time played alongside Anthony Davis. And it's like, well, you had to have played off the ball with that guy.
And Kobe.
And Kobe, yes. Not only Kobe, D'Angelo Russell, Brandon Ingram. Like, he played with these guys, and it's like, well, you couldn't have
that's the thing. The whole time. He also deferred to them when he played with them.
Right.
Now it's in his head that I'm the man. I shouldn't defer to anybody on this team.
Right. But, and it's like
weighing on. So,
but RJ and Quickly are playing so good that it's kind of like even if we don't make it into the play, right? Even if we don't, to me, it's just ending on a positive note to where it's like, okay, we just got to move a few pieces, get a few pieces. Excuse me. And if Julius can make that step to stepping completely back, because look, we talked about it, Joel, years ago. No fucking way Melo comes off of the bench. No fucking way. He did it. Eventually. He maybe didn't like it, but he did it.
Eventually.
And now I'm looking at and again, a lot of what Melo mentally
wasn't going to be here when he did it.
Right. A lot of what Melo mentally said he was okay with is because of his age. That does have
that, and the fact that nobody was going to take him anymore.
Not anymore. Absolutely. But look, if we're being honest, Joel, I do think there'll be a market for Randle. There won't be a massive market for Julius. No. So he very much should get in his head. If I can't share the ball here with someone who is not a star, the fuck are you gonna do when you go somewhere where someone is a star? Because they damn sure will tell you, hey, you better get in that back seat.
He played well next to AD. He put up double doubles next to AD. I remember
100%. I agree with you. That's why I'm saying I don't understand why it seems like it's difficult for him to do it now. I think it's because RJ isn't a star, and he's like, well, I shouldn't defer to someone who's not on my level.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that, and a lot of the fact that he was an all-star the year before.
Right.
But you have to realize you've been off all year. I mean, very rarely are you on at this point.
Right.
So you have to play within the offense, and if he sees how Obi is playing, you got to run, boy. Just run. I mean, things will happen if you run, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes he's so lazy on defense. He just watches the guy go by him. I'm like, oh.
His defense is very oh, you didn't even try. I get it.
Sometimes he does it. Sometimes he just does not try.
And you know what I want Julius Randle to look at, Joel? I want him to look at Boston, right? Look at what Boston did. We were talking about 3 months ago bro, you got to trade one of those guys. They fucking cannot work together.
Right. And then
look how they just decided, you know what? You got tonight, I got tomorrow. You got tonight, I got tomorrow. Or they started saying, wait a minute. There were nights where Kobe and Shaq both had 30. There were nights where Dwayne Wade and LeBron both had 30. You can do this. And look at them. They're number one in the fucking East after being in 10th. So I'm like, if Julius Randle can kind of just drink whatever Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are drinking, the Knicks could be unstoppable with RJ and Randle at the 1-2 punch, and then quickly kind of fitting in where he gets in, Obi fitting in where he gets in, Mitch doing whatever he does. Because you look at Robert Williams before that, before that injury, he was playing really fucking well.
Yes, he was. He's had a good season. He's been a good year all year.
Right. So I'm like, you can't tell me two guys dropping 30 a night takes away from everybody else. No, that's a lie. That's a lie.
I'm just saying. The problem is Julius can't shoot right now.
Right. But see, what we've been saying all year is, Joel, that to me isn't a problem because I don't think the team lacks in scoring. I think the team lacks in being able to set everybody else up in scoring. They play too much individual ball.
Yes, and the ball stops and it's slow.
Right.
And there's no assist because only one guy is doing the assisting, and it's Julius, because it's one pass to him and it stops. You know? And only he passes out, so no one else gets assists.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's hard. Like when we were like that one other game, the Hornet game, where we had like 20 plus assists. I'm like, Jesus, it was so beautiful. Just the flow.
But what was the common denominator in that game, Joel?
Aside from no Julius? Or...
That was the common denominator. There was no Julius Randle. The ball was moving because Tibbs was able to just let Quickly run the offense. And look, I apologize to Emmanuel Quickly. I really did believe that he was more Lou Will and Jamal Crawford than he was like an actual just pure facilitator. And he's shown in this stretch, in these wins, he could do both really fucking well. But what doesn't help is when you get Julius that comes back and goes, all right, ball stops here. And it's like, oh my God, are we shooting 59% from free throws? What the fuck?
Yeah, that doesn't help either. I mean,
oh my God, that's disgusting. What because the Bulls are shooting 94%. Now, mind you, I don't know how many times they've gotten to the line tonight.
Well, they've made a lot of them compared to us.
I was gonna say, to be at 94%, you haven't missed a whole bunch. But again, look, I'm very proud of what the Knicks have been doing in this winning streak. They look great. RJ looks like a fucking monster. He really does. And look, I'm not of this Knicks core that believes, look, it's Zion or bust next year. But I do very much believe you put RJ with Quickly, Reddish, and Zion next year. I'm really liking how the fuck that looks with the next step that RJ has taken to end out this season. I know you, Joel, you're not somebody that likes to live in La La Land or Dreamland. But I just want to ask you this. What do you think is the chance? Like, what do you think are the odds that we could even be in play for Zion next year?
If he demands a trade, that I think will be the first option.
But how gutted do you think we would have to get to
they're gonna want everything, and so that's what's gonna stop the trade from ever happening. Is probably they're gonna want too much because he's still young. You know what I mean? Right. Only advantage is that he's coming off an injury. We haven't seen him play again, so you're like that whole like, is he worth even paying? You know what I mean? So we're taking a chance by trading for him at the same time. So it's like, we're not going to give you everything if this guy doesn't pan out. We're the ones taking the chance, not you guys, you know?
Right. Now, where I do see things getting a little difficult, but also being a bright light. Like, let's say we do somewhat gut, but we can keep Toppin in Quickly, right?
There's no point keeping Toppin if we're going to get Zion.
But hold on. Here's the reason why I wanted to keep Toppin. Because there's, in all likelihood, Quickly is our starter, right? So I'm like, we do need a spark off that bench, and I'm like, not Quickly. Toppin has shown he could be a really good six-man if the minutes are there. And I'm like, if Quickly is starting, we're looking at you to lead that bench. And now I agree with you. ultimately, if you're trading for Zion, you're like, well, there's no need to keep both. But remember, we thought when they drafted Toppin, there was no fucking way they were keeping Randall long term.
Well, you can't keep both. That's the thing. We're not trying to keep both of them. That just happens. That was an accident.
Well, no, I think if Randall didn't play as well as he did last year, there would be no Randall still a part of this team, and Toppin would be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they expected him to play that well. They couldn't really find a place for him during the offseason. They're like, oh, we'll just let him play out, and then we'll trade him later on. But he played so well with all we
it made it hard, right? But yeah, I mean, look, I told you before, Joel, if you tell me next year my starting lineup is Quickly, Grimes, RJ, and let's say Toppin and Mitchell Robinson is my starting 5 next year, I would not be upset with that. I wouldn't go, oh my God, what are we doing? I would be very okay with that, because to me, Knick fans can't have it both ways. We can't scream all year, play the kids. And then when our starting 5 is nothing but kids, we're going, oh my God, you couldn't get Zion or this person. It's like, bro, you were screaming all year, play the kids. I'm playing the kids now. Like, how are you still complaining? So to me, I'm fine if that's our lineup. I'm 100% okay if that's our lineup. So I would have no problem with that. I even told you there's a world where I want Cam Reddish at 4. In my mind,
I'm not against that. It really depends. It depends. Like yuck, timeout. I would call it timeout. But there's a lot of options. We have so many young pieces. Right. That's why this year, like when everyone's like, we should tank. I'm like, tank for what? We have a young guy at like every position. Right. Unless we're getting the best pick, I don't see the point. Like,
bro, last time I checked, we don't have a Travis Ware on our team. There's no need to fucking tank. There's no Cle Anthony early on the court. There's no need. Yeah,
we have nice young talent, and then
we have young dogs.
And yeah, exactly. And I trust the front office to draft really well wherever we land. You know what I mean?
Right. I 100% agree with you. Look, that was it the Hornets game where Grimes just fucking went off? No, Miami game. The Miami game where he hit the 3 to tie and then hit the 3 to put us up 3. To me, he showed me that he can be trusted in late game moments. And I'm like, well, fuck, if you could do that in your first year, what is the upside for this guy? I'm very excited to see what that is. So to me, I'm with you, Joel. To me, unless we can do what Brooklyn did with James Harden, when obviously Ben didn't want to be there, James Harden didn't want to be there. So it essentially, neither one of them were gutted. It essentially was just Ben for James Harden. If we can work that out to where it's like we need to move on from Jules, Zion wants to move on from the Pelicans, and we can make it to where it essentially feels like a straight up swap for Zion for Julius Randle. No. I'm saying where it essentially feels like that, because the rest are just like smaller assets that you put with Julius Randle.
No, we can't. There's no way they're gonna let that slide.
No, you're absolutely right. But I will say, to me, if I'm the Knicks, I'd rather say no to that, because I look at Zion and I'm like, I know what your upside is, but you've not shown me you can be healthy long enough. Now, again, is that some of because okay, so this was my argument with my brother, right? So I said if I'm the Knicks and he makes himself available, I'd rather go after Donovan Mitchell. And he was saying, no. Zion is the once in a lifetime talent. And I said, but Sal, he's never healthy. Like, he's been in the league as long as RJ, and RJ has missed significantly less games. John Morant has missed significantly less games than Zion has. And again, I know a lot of people are saying
more than both of them, though. I'll tell you that much.
Right. And I know a lot of people are saying a lot of it is him just quitting on the team, not really wanting to be healthy and in the right weight and whatever. I don't know how much stock I can put in that. I don't know Zion. So to me, I just take it as you didn't play, so you're not healthy. I can't get into all the personal stuff of whatever. So to me, I'm like, all right, we get Zion and he's never healthy. We just gutted our organization essentially to do Stoudemire again. We just got a bigger name, right, with Zion than Stoudemire. But we're essentially younger. Right, and younger. But we're essentially putting all this money, giving away all these assets to essentially go through possibly what we did with Stoudemire. No one thought Stoudemire.
You also got to think about it like this too. If you go and trade for Zion, let's say you do that, you got to pay him, RJ, and Cam, or not. You know what I mean?
Right.
They all have the same contract. You know what I
And
mean?
then, Joel, you know what the biggest thing is? You then have to go, there's no fucking way I'm paying Mitchell Robinson and Zion.
Exactly.
Right?
So you have to like obviously there's got to be more moves, but I'm saying if those are your three guys, you're like, oh, this is my future.
Right.
That's a lot. You don't know. You
That
still don't
is.
know what you got in Cam. Zion hasn't proven to be healthy, and RJ now is starting to show it, but it's still. And now you're like he's proved it. The other two still haven't proved it. You know what I mean?
Right. So to
You're just
me, and
going
then,
off of what Zion was doing before and
right,
what Cam looks
or
like
what
he
he
can
could
do.
be, or what
Right.
Zion could be.
Same
To
thing with
me,
Cam.
I don't like to play off of that. To me, I'm like, I know what Donovan Mitchell is. Like, I don't have to worry about like, oh, we have to wait for Donovan Mitchell's upside.
But that's another
We already know it.
That's another
Right.
gut.
So to me, I'm like, and then he was like, well, what has Donovan Mitchell done? I'm like, well, healthy. Damn, DeMar DeRozan is 10 for 10 from the free throw line. God damn.
He's Mr. Midrange, bro. That's his spot.
He is. Oh my God, RJ is so fucking nice. Anyway, so to me, and then it's funny, Joel. So what we did was we went over his house for like a few Sundays ago, for game night, right? So we're playing 2K, and he was whooping my ass, but he usually uses teams with superstars, and I kind of use the smaller teams. I like to do David versus.
I do that too, and then I bitch that I lost because I used a lesser team, but
yes,
that's my
fault. I do that all the time too. So what I said was, because we were waiting for a game to download, so I said, all right, let's do 2K again. And he said, do you want to do randoms? I said, no. You were talking, oh my God, Obi Top. I'm like, you were talking all that shit about Zion being better than Donovan Mitchell. Let's do the Jazz versus the Pelicans. I finished that game winning by 10, and I had 30 with Donovan Mitchell. He only had 18 with Zion. And I said, now do you believe in Donovan Mitchell? And he's like, nah, I still don't. I'm like, all right, well, that's just you being stubborn. But I just showed you everything Donovan Mitchell could do.
How do you not believe in Donovan Mitchell at this point?
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't.
I mean,
I really
the Jazz have only gotten so far. That's true. Right. But that's not all on him.
But time out. Here's the biggest reason why I don't give Donovan Mitchell a lot of shit, right? Because you look at it, you could say that the second best player is Rudy Gobert. And if you're saying that, that's not a great thing offensively. That's a great thing defensively. So if you're Donovan Mitchell, you're like, bro, I dropped 45 tonight. It's like, but what did Rudy Gobert, your second best player, give you? 10. Like, yes, he gave me blocks. Yes, he played good defense. Yes, he had the rebounds. But he gave me 10 fucking points tonight. That's not a winning recipe.
That's not your scoring guy, though.
Hell no. Hell no. That's what I think derailed Lob City is that, like, all right, Blake and DeAndre are your lob guys. But if Blake can't get you points in a mid-range or any other facet, you're depending on Chris Paul to get you 40 a night. And that's not sustainable. That is not sustainable at all.
Yeah, Blake was obviously your second best. You're supposed to be your second best scorer on that team. But they had Jamal Crawford, they had JJ Redick, they had fucking they had scorers on there.
But again, those are role players. Those are guys you're not asking to give you 20 to 30 a night. Those are guys you're asking to just help the other two that are giving you 20 to 30.
Well, Jordan was not a scorer, but Blake definitely was supposed to be a scorer.
Right. So Jordan
that's why was like Rudy Gobert.
Right. That's why I'm saying I can only but put so much blame on Donovan Mitchell because I'm like, I feel like he's doing his job more nights than not, but they don't have a second guy. And
sometimes Obi be playing, and I'm like, I don't even need Zion. I love Obi. Like,
bro, Joel, what have we been saying all year? If someone told us there's no more Julius, we're not going after Zion, it's Obi at the 4, we would go, well, bravo.
That's all I wanted from the beginning.
Yes, and you know what frustrates me, Joel? In these last, I think, 4 to 8 games, fucking Obi Toppin is averaging 14 points a game. So when you look at that, you're just like, well, wait a minute. All he needed was more playing time.
He runs so weird. Like, it's like he's on his tippy toes when he runs. It's like
know why? Because he's always ready to jump. He's always ready to jump. So it's like I'm ready.
It's crazy. It's scary. It's like, wow, he's springy.
I fucking love this kid so much. Oh my God. So yeah, man. So I'd be very excited with that, with whatever they choose to do with Obi Toppin as far as off the bench or starting. But he needs to stay on that team.
He needs minutes. That's what he needs, regardless.
But then that's when decisions have to be made. RJ's due for a contract extension. Mitchell's due for a contract extension. Obi is only a year or two away from his contract extension. So I'm like, bro, you got to start to decide what you want to do, because if those players go, you wasted a youth core for nothing.
Yeah. You got to figure out what you're going to do. I mean, you got Cam coming up too, because that's what I'm saying. This is what sucks now, is that we're not being able to see Cam play. Like, this would have been perfect time for him.
Yes,
because Julius went down for like 3 games, and it's perfect.
But yeah, Joel, that scares me, man. Quickly, Toppin, RJ, Mitchell Robinson. That's 4 guys that are looking for I'm not talking about Cam, because to me, I'm like, if we keep Cam, great. If we don't keep Cam, I feel as though we still have young pieces that we could put together. It's not like, oh my God, if we don't keep Cam, like, what are we gonna do? I just would really like to keep
you don't let him. You can't let him walk. We got to get something.
No.
We dropped the first round pick to get him. That's an asset. I need something in return.
So we're talking about a starting 5 that's looking to get paid. A starting 5 that's looking to get paid.
They're so young, you know.
And look, here's the crazy thing. You ready for this, Joel? Mitchell Robinson, Emmanuel Quickly, RJ. That's 2 out of that 5 we actually gave playing minutes to. Like, real legit playing minutes to. That's terrifying. So that means 2 out of that 5 I'm paying, and I haven't really given them a chance to do anything. So I'm paying on what I hope you can be.
So we're really just looking at the front office and going, look, we prefer what you did in the draft over what you've done in free agency.
Yes. I actually prefer not to do another year of free agency and to just sign these guys.
Skip free agency.
Skip it. Skip it all together. Let Donovan Mitchell come here as a free agent. Let Zion come here as a free agent. Let's just rock with the kids, man.
He's still in like his first year of a new contract, Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, yes. Okay. You know what? I'm sorry. Wait until the Jazz are desperate, where Donovan's making it really like, I don't fucking want to be here.
Yeah, he would have to demand it, just like Zion. He would have to demand it.
Right. Like, I will pull a James Harden. I'll go eat.
Here's the big thing. Zion can sign his rookie whatever extension this summer.
Right.
The 5-year whatever.
Yeah.
If he doesn't sign it, that's when things will get interesting. Because if he doesn't sign it, because why wouldn't he sign it?
Right.
Then they're gonna worry, because they're like, why are you not signing? Like, because now he's gonna
like,
be agency.
What's happening here?
So it's like they're gonna start getting worried, and then they'll start exploring, and like he's not, you know what I mean? It's gonna be weird.
But, and you know what? Because I want us to get into football very briefly, but you know what? That's why
much football news to talk about.
So much football news. That's why I prefer football over basketball when it comes to disgruntled players. Look how easy it was for Deshaun Watson just to go, I don't want to be here. Obviously, it only took so long because of his legal trouble. Yeah. He was like, hey, I don't want to be here. And then boom, look, made it happen. Done. Done deal. He's gone. Devontae Adams, I don't want to be here. Boom, done. Made it happen. Gone.
It's the same thing, though.
No, in basketball, but time out. None of those NFL teams had to gut themselves to make it happen.
No, because it's different in football.
But that's what I'm saying. I prefer football because usually you would think if I'm trading Devontae Adams, that means I'm getting every last one of your first round picks. I'm getting one of your best players. None of that happened.
Look, the Deshaun Watson trade was a big trade. What? They didn't have to give up any player. That's the thing in football. You don't have to give up any major players. It's more picks. That's what matters in football.
But here's why picks don't matter in football in that situation. You ready? Deshaun Watson's 25 fucking years old. The draft is usually important because that's where you get your quarterback. You just traded your draft picks for a 25-year-old.
That's the thing. You traded exactly for what? A young quarterback. You can give up 3 years of a first round because of that.
100%.
So you just excel. But that's different because that's the most important position in football.
Right. Everything else you could just find on the free agency market. I can find an offensive lineman. I can find a wide receiver. I can find a running back. A quarterback of that stature? No. That's one of those. I either have to draft a diamond in the rough, or I have to find the guy on the open market that's like, yeah, I'll go there. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, football, it's easier to stomach. Because like basketball, look, we did that for Melo. Can we say we don't regret every decision that was made in that trade? Of course not. Of course not.
We got the shit out of ourselves, but hey.
Yes, we did. And you know what? I don't even regret the player.
No, I don't regret
we made. I regret the draft picks overhaul we made.
Yeah,
Because I'm like, again, those players worked well with that team. But would Gallinari and those guys have worked with Mike Woodson? I don't know.
Mike Woods a good coach. He'll would have worked.
I mean, yeah, sure. But as well as they were playing for D'Antoni, who was more fast paced, because Woodson very much slowed the game down, but he slowed it down for Melo. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't like to think that hard. To me, they weren't there. And to me, none of them have been perennial all-stars since they left. So I don't regret the players. It's those draft picks, the Jamal Murrays, the guys like that.
We gave up anything surrounding him. It was like we hoped, Amari would stay healthy. He didn't, and then we'd go and then we got a Chandler, which I love Chandler, but it's not like he wasn't the most complimentary piece to that puzzle. So it's like we needed a point guard, and then when we got one, we didn't bring him back.
Right? Yeah, we had Chauncey Billups right there. We were just like, nope, bye. It was like, okay. All right.
When we had Jeremy Lin, we let him go.
I was just about to say, then we had Jeremy Lin, and then it was like, nope, bye. And it's like, all right, you can't keep doing this with all of your point guards. Like, it's the only thing you're missing. You got your center, your defensive anchor, you got your scorer. Now you just need a facilitator. And the Knicks were just like, no, fuck it. I don't want one. But all right, so moving into football, Joel, a bunch of moves have been made. I want to start with asking you this.
Palooza, bro.
I want to start with asking you this because I couldn't wait to pod with you and ask you this fucking question. Is there any reason why the Giants are looking Baker Mayfield in the face and saying no?
Yes.
Can I ask you what that reason is?
Because they don't want him.
I'm just trying to figure out how.
Like to me, Daniel Jones. They don't want to waste whatever compensation is going to take to get him.
Okay, well, I'm going to say this: is Baker Mayfield somebody I could see taking you guys to a Super Bowl? Maybe. Is Baker Mayfield somebody I can definitively say could win the NFC East for you every year? 100%, 100%. Because I don't think much of the other quarterbacks in the NFC East. But I look at Daniel Jones and I'm like, that's still. Again, me and you agreed on this last year. I think if you put him in the right position, he can strike gold for you. He just has not been in the right position since he's been drafted. But to look a gift horse in the mouth in Baker Mayfield and just go, no, I don't understand that.
I do. I'm not giving up anything they want to get him. That's all. We're not desperate for a quarterback.
No, but remember, they said they're no longer asking for a first-round pick. So if you're talking about two seconds and a third,
we've already done what we had to do to keep the guy that we wanted, and Daniel Jones, and we can hopefully get a better quarterback next year in the draft. That's basically what it comes down to.
Okay, all right. To me, I always get nervous with that, over what could be versus what I know is.
I'll worry about Baker Mayfield when he actually leaves Cleveland.
That's fair. Look, it's tough for him because unfortunately for him. When he demanded that trade was already when people have already made their trades for their quarterbacks. So like everyone got
enough football teams that really don't have quarterbacks that could definitely use them.
Well, Washington, I assume, would have done it.
They probably would have if they didn't already make them.
But here's the thing, though, Joel. Here's why I don't put the blame on Baker Mayfield. Remember when the Browns first put him up for trade, they were talking first round pick. And it was just like, bro, that's a player who doesn't want to be there and you don't need him. Why the fuck would I gut myself for that? So now they're saying, oh, second round pick will be fine. Now teams like, bitch, I got my quarterback. Like, you waited too long. If you had said that like 2 weeks ago, some teams would have been all over it. I have to imagine Washington would have preferred Baker over Carson Wentz. I just have to imagine that. I have to. I have to. Carson Wentz had the best roster any young quarterback had in the NFL and fucked it up. So I have to imagine they couldn't have said, yeah, I'll take that guy. But yeah, so I'm going to be very interested to see where Baker Mayfield goes. Really, I am. Because I think he's gifted. I think he's a really good quarterback. I don't think he's of elite status, but I think he's really fucking good. So I'll be very interested to see where he ends up. All right, so out of all these big trades, I think the one that stood out to me the most, Joel, of like really shocking was Tyreek Hill.
That came out of nowhere.
That shocked me the most because the only reason why that shocked me was, to me, I think Travis Kelce is a one-trick pony. I think he's a really good tight end. Like a really obviously
he's a really good one-trick pony then.
Well, yes, but I also think that's the lack of great tight ends in the NFL because I think the NFL is really only 2 or 3 deep.
He's one of them.
Right. I 100% agree with you. So he would be considered elite of tight ends, but I also think part of that is he's a great player. The other part of that is there really aren't any other great tight ends really outside of him and maybe George Kittle, maybe Kyle Pitts. We'll see what he becomes.
Hopefully, Kyle Pitts.
Right. A few others because there are others. Darren Waller is one, obviously.
Waller's good.
Obviously.
Detroit, I like him. He's young, but I like
Henderson. I think it's Henderson. Is it Taylor Henderson or something like that? I know it's an H. I know it's an H.
Definitely an H. I know
exactly who you're talking about, though. Obviously, I'm gonna rep for my guys, Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry.
We got 2 good tight ends. It's almost not fair. It's like
yes, right. And we didn't know what to do with them, so that's the crazy part.
That's even worse. Like what?
That is even worse, right?
You're wasting them. Is what you're doing.
Which is crazy because I'm like Jonnu is just a poor man's Aaron Hernandez, and they still don't know how to utilize that. I'm like I don't understand. But yeah. So anyway, so I'm saying to me, Tyreek Hill very young, and his speed does not look like it's diminished. I look at Travis Kelce last year for their playoff run, and he didn't look the same. Obviously, his 50% is better than most people's 100%. So I will give him his due respect. But he did struggle a lot in that postseason. So I'm like, the one guy who didn't, Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is the guy that you can just go run 10 yards and then he'll run for 70 yards and get you a touchdown. So I'm like, to essentially say, oh, I'm not paying you is fucking wild. So what was the trade or the free agency signing that stood out to you the most?
Well, I mean, you said Tyreek Hill is one for sure, I would say. Tyreek Hill is one. Deshaun Watson was one. As to where he went, not that he got traded. Right. I wasn't expecting the Browns. And then they were in it, and then they weren't in it, and then they were, and they weren't. And I'm like, I don't know what to believe. Oh, wow, what a fucking shot. So, like, those were big. Devontae Adams. I did not expect that. That was a big one.
I mainly didn't expect that because Aaron Hernandez. Wow. Aaron Rodgers resigned. Yep. But I think Devontae Adams was thinking, bro, this guy is very hot and cold. Sometimes he wants to be here. Sometimes he wants to retire. I damn sure don't want to play with Jordan Love. So he said, I'm going to go ahead and bounce and go play with my high school quarterback that is around the same age as me. We can play in this league for a lot of years before I have to worry about this motherfucker talking about retirement.
Didn't he grow up a Rangers fan?
I think he did, but I think the main reason he wanted to go there, Joel, is Derek Carr was his high school quarterback.
Okay. It doesn't hurt that was his favorite team.
It does not hurt whatsoever. But I definitely believe if Joe Blow was the quarterback in Oakland, he would not have. He would have said, once you get a quarterback,
not a bad team, yes.
Oh no! But I'm saying what helps Oakland for sure is that Derek Carr is a very, very, very good quarterback. So he's not worrying about because again he played that one game. Aaron Rodgers was out with Jordan Love, and it was not good. So he definitely said, "No fucking way! I'm spending 5 to 10 years here with Jordan Love. So get me the fuck up out of here." But no, that was great for the Raiders. Look, Chandler Jones, Devontae Adams with Darren Waller. With Derek Carr at your quarterback, with a great offensive mind like Josh McDaniels as your head coach, if that team doesn't get to a Super Bowl within the first 3 years, Josh McDaniels should be fired. 100%. Because unless injuries strike that team is easily, I tell you what, shout out to Russell Wilson. Because I tell you this right now, no fucking way at my old ass age would I say, yeah, put me with fucking Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes. Put me with those guys. Yeah, fuck it. I'll roll around with those guys. No fucking way. I would say put me in the AFC East. Fuck it. Mac Jones, fucking Zach Wilson, and Tua. Yeah, put me there. All I gotta worry about is Josh Allen twice a year. Fuck it. Yeah, I'll do that.
Miami with Tua. Talk about an upgrade for that roster. I mean that.
Right.
Tua got a lot of help this summer. So
and look, let me say this. Excuses. I was just about to say a lot of people putting pressure on Daniel Jones. Nuh-uh. The quarterback with the most pressure this year is Tua. If you can't make the playoffs in a deep run with that roster, you're just not it. You're not it. You're not the guy. You're not the guy. You just aren't.
That's sad because I thought he was gonna be really good. We'll see.
Yeah, and look, he still could be. That very much could have just been a head coach thing. So we got to see, because some guys, Joel, you know this. Some guys, it's just a head coach. They just work better with head coaches.
That's what I'm hoping. That's just head coach.
Right. I mean, because look. Just to bring it back to a basketball analogy, Melo played great under Mike D'Antoni. Melo played MVP level under Mike Woodson.
Yeah.
Right.
Look. You want to know a funny? You want to hear a funny stat?
Yeah.
What you know? What is the Knicks record right now? 30.
Oh, hold on. Hey Siri, what's the Knicks record? 33-42.
33-42.
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, we have a better record than the last 8 years, aside from last year.
Yes.
Right now.
And the only reason why our record right now doesn't send me spiraling, because I'm like, a Popovich coach team is worse than us. And I'm like, that does bring me some solace. It shouldn't, but it does bring me some solace. It's not like we have a team full of all-stars like the Lakers and we're fucking up. We got
that hurts.
Right.
Like, I don't know what would I do? Like, what would my head be if I was a Laker fan right now?
In the garbage. It'd be in the garbage.
You have LeBron.
LeBron, Russell Westbrook, and I'll give you
you're definitely pointing at Russell Westbrook. You fucked it up. You did it.
You did this to us, Russell. But no, so look, I look at our record and I go, obviously we're 10 to 15 games worse than we were last year.
Unfortunately.
Right. But it's not like we won
62. 42.
Yeah, we had like 42, something like that. It's not like we won 62 games last year and now we only won 28. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that drastic of a drop. And look, we're still in the possible play-in. Like, we're still in for.
Yeah, Atlanta has to fucking go on a losing streak, though.
Right. But I'm saying it's not like we're so bad we're not even in it. That's what I'm saying. Like, because then I'd be pissed at this year. But we're still, whether we get it or not, that's a whole different conversation. But we're in it.
Yeah, we're still in it. It's crazy, but we are. After that February, we're still in it, I don't know, but yes, we are.
Right, and look, I don't want to jinx it, but unless DeMar DeRozan pulls a Reggie Miller, we will have beaten in the span of a week the Bulls and Miami. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Miami is
Bulls, Miami, Charlotte, and the only team we lost to was Atlanta, and we had them motherfuckers.
We did. We had them. Fucking Trae Young. And we beat the Hornets. Take that for.
We're all in the playoffs right now. We've beaten 4 teams that are in the playoffs right now.
Yep. And look, we had that. We had that Brooklyn game too. If we really wanted to.
Oh, for real, that game was ours. Another game that should have been ours.
Yep. So anyway, so like I said, I look at what the Knicks have been doing, and I go, I feel a lot better about Tibbs than I did 2 months ago.
Me too.
You know,
I wouldn't be as upset if he comes back now.
No, I mean they told us that he's coming back. Now, could they change their mind? For sure.
Correct.
But I'm not upset now. But now I'm saying this: 1 great year, 1 off year. You gotta give us another great year.
Yeah.
We have to do at least what we did last year or better.
Yeah. The fact that we'd be in the play-in if we were in the West, crazy to say.
Super crazy to say, bro. We'd be comfortable. and you know what? You know what's the crazy stat, Joel? The East is such in a flux. If Memphis was in the East, they'd be a number 1 by a mile.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they'd be a very comfortable number 1.
Well, it's so top-heavy in the West, you know what I mean?
Right.
The East is like there's a lot of good middle-tier teams. Right. They're all pretty decent. And we're like, we would be like 9th in the West, which means we'd be in the play-in.
Right. That's what's crazy. That's why I'm with you when you were preaching parity. That's what's crazy about the NBA. Because think about this, Joel. Last year, the Eastern Conference was very middle of the road, right? Obviously, Giannis in Milwaukee was playing at a great level, but they were very middle of the road. Mm-hmm. Phoenix was one of the top tier teams. And Milwaukee went in there and handled their business like you wouldn't believe, right? So it's like, I feel as though, kind of like you look at the AFC and the NFC in football, where the AFC is very pass heavy, right? Yeah. And the NFC is very defensive heavy. Like they load up on their defense. They're very defensive minded. It's why when you get to the Super Bowl, it's never a team gets blown out 47 to 32 or anything like that, right? Or not 32 to like 12. Anyway, you look at basketball and you're like, the West is offensive heavy, right? Like they got the shooters, they got the 3-point specialists and all that. And the East seems very rooted in defense. But when you get to the finals, it's very interesting to see how those two things mesh, right? Like, can your offense overpower what their defense does? And we learned from Milwaukee last year, yes. yes, they can. They overcame it. Giannis came out, dropped the 50 burger, and they fucking won the championship. So I'm very impressed to see what the Knicks do going forward. I love this team. I love Burks. I love all these guys. I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about losing another piece of our fucking coaching tree?
It hurts because I like them too. So I mean that means something that they're leaving is because they're good coaches.
right.
I mean, they're good coaches. And like me, I miss Mike Woodson every day because
it
just seems like we're only good when he's our coach.
I'm just saying this right now. I've put out an alert to colleges. I've threatened them. Don't come for Johnny Bryant. Don't come for Johnny Bryant. Don't you dare come for Johnny, because it seems like quickly will only be the best version of himself under Johnny Bryant. So do not get rid of Johnny Bryant. But all right. So to go back to football. So a lot of moves are going to be made. Me and Joel aren't going to go down all of them because not any of them happen to our teams. So
all my moves have been like low tier because we can't afford it. Like I told you, we have no money.
We don't have any money either. We don't have any money either.
You spent on everybody last year.
Yes. That's why it's like when JC Jackson was like, "Hey, I want to get paid." We were like, "Ooh, yikes!" You should have asked like,
about that.
Said something last year when we had money. We don't have any money. I don't know what you want.
You're a little too late, yeah.
And look and see, this is why they always say in sports, when you have a player as great as JC Jackson, damn, the Knicks won and Julius Randle's still angry. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, what the hell? You just can never get a good read on this guy.
I know. I just be happy we won the game, and now
like I don't understand. He throws the ball and he's storming off, and I'm like, "How we won? What the like? What? I've never seen a player like him, bro. Not even DeMarcus Cousins was this unstable mentally. Because you could at least say, well, DeMarcus Cousins was angry every game because they were refereeing him like they did Shaq. He would never get calls. Julius Randle can't complain anywhere near like DeMarcus Cousins. He would never get calls. But anyway, but what's important about sports, they always say, is when you have a player that's that great, you always want to trade him before you just let him go. Right. The fact that we let JC Jackson go and he fucking stayed in the AFC is heartbreaking. You know what I'm saying?
Where'd he go?
He went to the Chargers. And the Chargers just got Khalil Mack on opposite side of Joey Bosa. Justin Herbert, obviously. That's very scary. If JC Jackson can play at the level he has been, and you add him to that, because here's the thing people don't understand about corners. Where corners are the most effective is when the defensive line can get to the quarterback, because it heightens the chances the quarterback makes a mistake, right? So it's like, if I'm a quarterback and I'm worrying about Khalil Mack on one side and Bosa on the other, I'm probably throwing 10 interceptions to JC Jackson a year. Easy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, if I'm JC Jackson, that's the perfect fucking place to be. You know what I'm saying? So that's heartbreaking every time I think about it, that I'm like, fuck, you should have traded him. You knew you weren't going to pay him. Trade his ass. Trade him to the NFC. Trade him to the 49ers. They're fucking in shambles. Oh, man. Okay. Hold on. So to me, it's like, damn, I hate that. But anyway, so is there anybody you see Baker Mayfield going to?
I don't know. It depends on what direction a lot of these guys, like, it's not like this is a great quarterback class in the draft. So I guess whoever misses out on those quarterbacks, maybe they bring in a Baker Mayfield, like, because you still have, like, I think Seattle definitely needs some type of quarterback there. I think Atlanta will try to draft a quarterback because they just signed Mariota.
Right.
That sounds like a stopgap to me.
I don't know about Seattle because it just came out yesterday or the day before. They're actually interested in Cam Newton.
Or would you rather Cam Newton or Baker Mayfield?
I mean, if you're Baker Mayfield, that's got to hurt your soul. Is where it's just like, hey, I'm a good quarterback, and Seattle's like, I'd much rather Cam Newton. It's like, whoa, what?
It's much cheaper, too.
Right? Not even a price tag. I just think he's better fit for us. Like for Falcons to go, I'd rather Marcus Mariota than Baker Mayfield.
Then trade for Baker Mayfield.
That has to hurt your heart.
That's another thing. I mean, they tried Trubisky in fucking Pittsburgh. Like, think about that. Like, I'll take my chances. But what?
But to be fair, Pittsburgh did say, because they know that the Browns won't trade Baker to them. They did say if they release Baker, they would take him immediately. They're just saying they know there's no way the Browns are going to trade them within their conference. There's just no.
That makes sense then.
Yeah, no.
I thought that would be a decent spot.
Yeah, but they said they want him. They want him bad, but they because they said even if we offered it first, there's no way the Browns trade him to us. There's just no way.
Yeah.
No way whatsoever.
It'd have to be like, we traded him one place, like farther away, and then the next year they trade him to Pittsburgh.
Right. Or if you're Browns, the only way I trade him to the Steelers is if I feel that fucking confident in Deshaun Watson not ever having to serve a day in jail.
Or that Baker's that shitty. Like, he's just so
Or
shitty.
that he is that shitty, right? Because if I'm the Browns and I know Deshaun Watson's legal troubles are behind him completely, bitch, I trade Baker Mayfield to the fucking Steelers tomorrow. Deshaun Watson with Nick Chubb, with fucking Amari Cooper at receiver, and I still got what's his name, Myles Garrett as my pass rusher. I'm feeling really fucking good every day.
Browns should be good next year.
100%.
They're lucky.
100, because he won't have to be on the field as much because the offense can't get anything going.
True.
So the only reason I don't trade him just for scraps is because it's like, you know what? What if he does get arrested? I might have to force this motherfucker Baker Mayfield to play for me. Like, I might have to force this motherfucker to play for me. So let me just hold on a second. All right, so let's move on. We had a first episode, Joel, of Halo.
Yes.
We did. I do want to let the audience know, because I wasn't able to let them know on air for GVN Talk. I was asked, is there a reason why Master Chief never takes his helmet off? There's twofolds. There's a creed he had that he took to never take it off. But the book, the actual novel that is canon for why he never took it off, was that was his only way of keeping his sister was in his helmet. That was his way of talking to his sister, hearing his sister. He thought if he took it off, he would lose that connection, like she would disappear. So he vowed to just never take it off, to always have that connection with his sister.
Never drink water, none of that.
Oh, well,
I'm just asking. I'm being realistic here.
I'm sure
I sleep with the helmet on. I don't.
There were ways. Again, I like I said, my issue isn't necessarily.
Sounds ridiculous, but okay.
My issue isn't necessarily that he needs to take it off. My issue is I don't need to see him take it off. That's all I ever said. Yes, I'm sure he needs to take it off to drink and eat. It was the same thing for Mando. I just don't need to see it. That's all my only issue is. I don't need to see him do it. I don't need to see his face.
Well, I like what Pablo, right?
Yeah, Pablo Schreiber. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. His explanation was good enough for me. Because of the whole, in the medium of a first-person shooter, you're expected to be the Master Chief. Mm-hmm. So you honestly never see yourself because you are Master. It's a first-person shooter. That's just how it is. You never see anything but the fucking gun. You know what I mean? So you never have to see, not even his mask. You know what I mean? In a first-person, unless you see the animation, CGI cutscene. Yeah. That's the only time you ever see the Master Chief, right? Right. But I do understand the whole explanation he was giving. That's the whole point of in the game is for you to embrace that character. You are that character, and when it comes to this as a narrative, it's easier to connect with the character when you can actually see their face. Now, I don't need to see it as long as I did see it at the end of that episode. He had it off and he kept it off at the end with the I take it off fine, but put it back on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't mind him taking it off. I just don't need him hanging out without it all the time. He had it on most of the show to the very when he wanted, which made sense. He took it so she could trust him. I thought narratively it made sense. But now you're back to business. Put the fucker back on. That's all.
Right. And look, I said this to my dad. I said this on air. I said, if this show is so good, right? Like, it's so fucking good that taking off the helmet will just be something that I just have to accept. We talked about it, Joel. You know I don't like that collar on Batman. I fucking hate that collar. I cannot wait for that collar to go. But the movie was so good. It was so good. Who gives a fuck about a collar, right? So to me, I told people, I said, I won't lie. Halo was so fun. Like, that's how you start a series like Halo, the way they started it. But then they got me the last 5 minutes. I said, the first episode, bro? I said, God damn, man, okay. All right, but I won't lie. That was a good fucking episode. Like, I felt...
Started really strong.
I'll give you this, Joel. I'll give you this. And obviously, there's no need to compare, obviously. But I will say this. I felt stronger with this first episode than I did with The Witcher. And I thought I would never feel that way. Because when he was using his abilities, the way he was swinging the sword, it just felt like I was in the game, right? Like I was playing Witcher 3. It felt so good. But Halo, the way when he was taking out the monsters and it went into first person, I was just like, oh my fucking God, this is great. This is great. And nothing about it feels cheesy, off, disingenuous. It feels legit, right? So I'm like, I won't be one of those people that's so stubborn and in his ways of not liking the helmet being off that I say, oh, I fucking hated it. It was horrible. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't lie to you. I can't lie to the audience. I love this fucking episode. Again, when I rewatch it, I stop right before he takes it off. Like, I don't need to. I saw it originally. I don't need to see it again. But that is how you start a first episode. So I do want to go back to you. So, like, what were some of the things that you liked in this first episode? Because I know me and you don't ever like to harbor on the things we maybe didn't like. We like to harbor on the things we did like. So go more into the things you did like.
Very similar to what you were saying. I love the way it started. It started really cool. I'm like, I sat there. I didn't realize that it was gonna be that gory. Like limbs were coming off. I was like, what the fuck? I did not expect that at all. It's just when they showed up, it was a really cool, like his first show, like boom. I'm like, oh, that's an entrance. That's an entrance. That's awesome.
And seeing the sword so early too was really fucking gnarly.
Yeah,
I really like
the CGI is not that bad. A little off, but it's not bad at all.
Wait, hold on. Go into that for a second, because I honestly didn't get that at all. And again, I guess you know how like you say acting never really bothers you unless it's like drastically bad. That's how I usually feel about CGI. Like, I know a lot of people shitted on Black Panther. I'm like, it wasn't the worst ever. Was it bad? Yes, 100%. Won't argue
only
that.
Really at the end that was really
but it wasn't so glaring that it took away from how good that overall movie was. And that's usually...
I wasn't going to dock major points because of that, no.
Right, but that's usually when I make a big deal about CGI is when it's so glaringly bad that I'm like, all right, bro, like, I can't even fucking watch this thing. And I didn't feel that. So what were some of the CGI points that stuck out for you?
The aliens in the daylight kind of, they seemed a little weird. Like you could tell they were fake. You know what I mean? Like you could tell.
Yeah, I get you.
Like it was good enough I just need to see detail, and it was good enough. Mm-hmm. But I've seen better CGI, is all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's bad at all. It was good. They look good. The monsters are good. It's creepy. It was really cool. It was very bright. It was brighter than I was expecting. I don't remember Halo being that bright, but
it's usually, to be fair, it's usually not. It's usually a lot darker.
That's
but I get it, because we know, Joel, when it comes to adaptations, a lot of studios believe in brightening things up more. We've seen it in a lot of. It's why me and you felt so refreshed watching the Batman, where it doubled down on its darkness. Right. And we were like, okay, so like,
and even when it was daylight, it was dark daylight.
It was. And I'll say this, if when Batgirl comes out, it's super bright, I won't go, oh, that's not Gotham. I'll go, you know what, I can accept that for Batgirl, because Batman's not a main focus in her, you know, not in her world, but in that movie. He's like a side character.
He's a supporting character, not a main.
Right. So to me, Gotham is only as important as Batman is. So if Batman's a supporting character, Gotham is that also. So to me, I'm fine with that. But if Batman is the main character and I'm seeing the sun is shining like we're in fucking Metropolis, hell no. Hell no. So I'm completely fine with Halo doing that in the respect of clearly to bring it to this medium, they're going to lighten it up for a more general audience. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine. Again, it didn't drastically take away from the episode, but you're right. It is much darker in the games for sure.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. And look, I don't know. Again, I know nothing. So this is all this story is new to me because I've never played the story mode.
Right.
I had no idea what conflicts there were. But a part of me was like, I don't remember him being part of a team. So a part of me was like, they're gonna turn on him at some point. That's just the first thing I thought because I'm like,
oh wait, you mean of the other Spartans?
Yes, the silver team.
Well, you always had to lead your battalion.
Okay.
So like in the main campaign, you did lead your battalion, but that
doesn't. Were they other Spartans?
Yes, it was other Spartans. Yeah. Sometimes though, and I am leaving myself the slither of being wrong here. I do remember in one of those games, Joel, his team never wore helmets. So like it looked like it was actual right. It looked like it was actual soldiers rather than other Spartans.
Because I know there are other Spartans. I just didn't know. I just don't remember because he's always solo, in my opinion. I always see him alone. It's not only with Cortana or like a human soldier.
Well, usually when you're playing the main storyline, like when you get dropped off on a planet, it is usually you. It's like, you know, when you play a game where obviously a character's supposed to be with you helping, but it seems like you're doing all the fucking work. It's essentially like that. But then when you get to the cutscenes, you see your team and you're like, people. Where the fuck were you like 10 minutes ago when I was getting mobbed?
Well, that's another thing. I don't know the supporting cast, so I didn't know who to look for.
Oh, no. That's not important. That's something that's like, Master Chief.
Aside from Master Chief and Cortana, I don't know anything else. And only because I have Cortana on my computer still.
I love that. But no, when it comes to Halo, you know what I compare it to, Joel? If someone sat down in the Batman and they go, Joel, I only know Batman and Alfred. We wouldn't go, that's all you know. We would go, that's pretty much it. Like that's as long as you know those two, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
You should know a little bit more than that. But yeah, I mean, if that's all you know, then you really should. Don't know.
But I won't dock points if you tell me like, hey, I don't really know much about Two-Face, Joker, Riddler. I will dock points if you tell me, if you sit down and you go, Bruce Wayne, who's that? And it's like, whoa, hold on. like wait a second. I think you're in the wrong movie if you don't know who Bruce Wayne is. So it's like that for Halo. If you play Halo and you're like, bro, all I know is Master Chief and Cortana. That's it. You're good. You're good.
I'm trying to remember guns, and I'm like, I don't remember many of the guns. I know the shotgun, I know the sword, the grenades, I know the sticky grenades, I know the needler. I know the machine gun. I don't know. I forget which one it is.
I will say that, Joel. That was the one thing. I know the game is like that, but that was the one thing I was hoping they would change for this series. I don't like human guns. I don't like that at all. I was kind of hoping it would be more blasters. And then
his main gun is like a human gun, right? What's an advanced version of that? Right,
it's an advanced version. You're absolutely right, but there's a difference between like the guns Master Chief and his team use, and then obviously the alien weapons.
Yes.
So I was hoping for more blasters. Right. I was hoping for more blasters. I don't know. Real guns, the sound of real guns in Halo always irked my soul. So I was kind of hoping for just blasters. So that was the one thing that I was like, I was hoping you would change that a little bit. But
I do appreciate that they did keep it in. And they kept the shields. You saw them get hit with shield, like that's cool. And then his shield went down, and he needed to take a break, and then it refilled.
Yep,
that's dope.
Now, when I fell in love with Joel, that I just started tearing 8 o'clock in the morning is when he threw his gun down, looked at the other one, and then went to go pick it up. Yeah, that like to a lot of people listening, they're like, okay, that's what normal. No, in Halo, it's very much you're carrying a gun and you're like, all right, I don't want this. I want that. And it's very much you just drop it and you like, you just bend down and pick up another gun. So
it's like that in Uncharted, the same way. You have your gun, but you just pick up guns whatever you can find. The better the gun, the better, you know.
Right.
And you pick up whatever you can use, whatever, and hopefully you find ammo. You're like,
right. That's always the hard part of life. That I do want to see in Halo, because they never really do that in video game adaptations. Like, oh, I ran out of ammo. like, shit, what am I gonna do now with no ammo?
Pick up a different gun.
Right. So I do want to see that played out a little bit more. That's always interesting to me. So where it's like, all right, bro, you got no ammo. What are you gonna do now? And it's like, damn, what am I gonna do now? Like, I don't have any ammo. So I definitely want to see that be played out for sure. What else stood out to you?
Ooh. I mean, aside from the beginning, I don't know much. Again, the story, I don't know much about what's going on. So it's all new to me. A lot of it was just dialogue heavy in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And then like that was it really. I mean, aside from the beginning, it was all kind of blah. Like in the middle and then the end. He took off his mask. I'm like, okay, whatever. I just thought maybe he should have put it back on when they were shooting at him. Whatever.
I will say this, Joel. Prepare yourself for this, because the book did it. I can't remember if the game did it, but I know for a fact the book did it. They're gonna lean into the fact that in the books he did find out that he did have a life on Earth. He did go to Earth. So that's why I think they're gonna lean in
a trailer for one of the games. I swear, I remember.
Yes, it was, but it wasn't. It wasn't utilized in the game. It was only utilized in the cinematic trailer.
Right.
Not utilized in the actual game. Right. Okay. Yeah, absolutely right.
I remember because when he had it in the show, I'm like, I remember those in the game.
Right.
Or at least advertising them. Because I remember he had flashbacks as a human.
Exactly. So that's why I think they're going to lean heavily into that mask not being on a whole bunch. Is because they are going to lean into that. Like when he does get to Earth, he's going to want to blend in, right? And people don't usually wear helmets every day there. Yeah. So if you're
not trying to blend in,
right? So I'm preparing myself mentally for it. But like I said, if the other episodes are on caliber of this episode,
it's all about storytelling. If you have a good story to tell and you can explain it away well enough, and you at least respect the source materials that he's in it a lot, you know what I mean? Yeah. You can live with it.
I can live with it. So I am excited for this next episode coming up this Thursday. I do like that it comes out Thursdays.
Different than Wednesdays, which we
right.
Wednesdays and Fridays, busy if you're playing it right.
Right. But I also like it because when stuff like The Boys and stuff like that comes out soon, they'll be Friday. So it kind of feels like, we'll have something Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And it's like that's kind of fun. I like that. But all right, so moving on. I do want to talk about this briefly, Joel, very briefly, because I know neither one of us really truly care. But it is a hot topic. Clearly, Will Smith at the Oscars last night. I'm going to just make my point really clear. You can go over yours and we can just move on. We don't need the ball down here.
Perfect.
I am of the mindset of you cannot disrespect someone and then try to dictate the terms of how they respond to that said disrespect. Because not everybody handles disrespect the same. Some people can handle it where they laugh it off, no problem, then they pull you to the side later. Some people feel very adamant about handling it right there on the spot. So to me, I don't have a wife, I don't have kids, so I can't speak for what I would do in that situation. But you do have a fiance and a kid, so if we were at like New York Comic-Con and something was said to either your fiance or about your daughter, do you think you would react that same way in that moment? Or do you think you'd be reserved enough to kind of pull it to the side and handle it that way?
I'm more reserved, obviously.
Okay.
I wouldn't, especially not in public like that. I'll take care of you later.
Yeah, Joel said it like a butt whooping. Like, go to your room. I'm gonna whoop you later. I'm gonna take care of you later. But yeah, no, that's just how I felt, Joel, of just, you can't disrespect someone, albeit whether you knew about her condition or not. You can't disrespect anyone, and making a joke about somebody is always a form of disrespect. It's just always how the person takes it that is usually the difference. But to me, it's like whenever you make something that personal, you don't then get to dictate how I respond to it, because you could have just made a general joke about bald people. And then if she took it personally, it's like, well, I didn't say you. I
took it back. He could have just said it and then said, I'm just kidding.
Like, or that, or I mean, you could see her response. She was not having. So yeah,
she rolled her eyes like whatever.
Right, you could have, but I think I think we too often give comedians the pass of, bro, it's just a joke. Yeah, but sometimes words do hurt people, and you can't dictate how a person reacts to said jokes, especially if it's being personalized. If it was generalized, I would say, all right, well, he didn't say Jada. He just said bald people. There's like 90 bald people in this crowd. But because you made it personal, you then can't dictate how Will Smith reacts to you personally coming for his wife in front of millions of people. So that's how I feel about it. If you wanted to elaborate a little bit more, if not, we can just go on.
Yeah, I'm of two minds. Like I see it from both sides. To looking at it from Will's side, like it is. I think it's deeper than what the joke was. I think it's a lot of pent up frustration, and it's like, look, I've been getting shitted out all year, and you know
I
what?
mean, since 2020, really.
Yeah,
that situationship, I think, was 2020.
It's ridiculous too. So it's like, I mean, that's like a lot of. I think there was more to it than that. I think that was just a boiling point.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna show the world I'm done. Talk shit again, and I might hit you. And that's what I mean. I respect the fact that he did it because of the fact that like I'm done. But like also from Chris's point, like it wasn't even a good joke. Like it was a very low hanging fruit. Like it was like it wasn't even that funny. But like yeah, so I wouldn't have taken it so seriously. But it's also not my wife. I didn't know about her situation, so if he didn't, he didn't. You know, like,
right? That's what I'm saying. I believe he didn't, because I believe Chris Rock to be a very respectable and great man.
Right.
So I don't think.
Right. Well, that's the thing. It was awkward because you like both of those guys. So you're like, oh fuck, like this. I feels like you're seeing family fight.
Right, you see your dad and your uncle fight. You're just like, oh, but I love you both so much. Like, how you gonna make me choose between?
This is so weird right now. Yeah.
Right.
I feel so awkward, man. Stomach's in a knot. Like, oh, but I love you both.
That's exactly how I looked at it. And like I said, to me, all the people jumping down Will Smith's throat, I'm like, first of all, this has never been something Will Smith has done. So for you to jump right out and immediately go, he's the worst thing ever, it's like,
no. Well, that's the problem with society right now. Everyone's so extra. Everyone's fucking done. Everybody. Everyone's ready to like either cancel you or like that's it. You're the worst person in the world over some. Relax. People get smacked up every fucking day.
100%.
And especially if you're talking shit, there's a possibility it might happen if you're talking shit. You know?
Right. Yes. Again, this wasn't like Chris Rock said, man. Shout out to all the guys being nominated tonight. Denzel, I hope you beat Will Smith. And then Will Smith walks up and slaps. And then you're like, what the fuck was that for?
Unnecessary.
That's different. Right. Now, again, you could make the argument, even making fun of his wife, did he need to do that? No. But again, we're not Will Smith in that moment. And someone's talking about your wife, essentially making fun of your wife in front of a packed house, millions watching.
I'll give Chris credit for taking that hit. He took it well. I'm like, wow, I looked fake. It looked fake the first time I saw it.
I still think that slap was fake, Joe.
It looked fake, but if you slow it down, he hits him. He touches it. You see him touch him. And he went too fast for him to slow down. So I'm like, all right, so I guess he did touch. I thought because it looked like what it looks like is he was bracing. He went with the hit.
Right.
And that's what he's like, wow. I wasn't expecting it.
What? And then he's like, bro, a G.I. Jane joke? And it's like,
right.
It's like, you can't.
I've said worse shit than this. That's what he was thinking in his head.
Right.
He couldn't even get the words out. He was saying the wrong words. Like, oh my God. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
I will say Will Smith is very lucky it was Chris.
It was Chris Rock, right?
Because Dave
Chappelle would have a brawl right there.
Bitch, you think you just slap me and sit down? Like Will Smith straightened out his suit and then sat down.
He was like smirking on the way back. He's like, "Wow, I just did that." He's like,
"Oh my God, he just slapped me."
Wow, a G.I. Jane joke. He's like, "Get my." No, he is mad. I will.
Yeah. That's when I knew it was
all real. You had to say, buddy.
That's when I knew it was real, because the slap I still think was fake. But then when he said, "Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. I was like,
yeah.
oh, that's passion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Will Smith doesn't.
The way he said it, and the fact that he didn't, you could see like 3 different types of emotions in his face. He was
100%.
he was kind of laughing, but he was also sad and angry all at the same time.
And bro, I will always say the funniest part of all that has to be Lupita. She should have been nominated just off of that, just off of. Like she didn't know what to say. Like, oh my god! And like, I think what's even funnier was I would have I get it. They're not going to do that, but I would have really liked to have seen what Jada's reaction was.
To the smack?
To the smack, and then to keep my wife's name out your fuck. Like they didn't pan over just a tad so we could see Jada.
I'm very proud wife at that moment.
I'm curious if she was saying something too, like, yeah, mother, keep my name. Like, I would have loved to have seen if something was being said by her. And then, of course, everyone always catches the gems that we never catch. Andrew Garfield in the back texting while that's happening is hilarious. And then the meme was he was texting the other Peters to see if Will Smith slapped Chris Rock in their universe. Like, bro, did this happen in your universe too? Like, did Chris Rock just get slapped? I love that. So I thought that was funny. But yeah, we can move on. We don't need to stay there. Like I said, to me, I'm always in the mindset. I never say, oh, I would never do that. I don't know. I'm not in that situation. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I wouldn't. I mean, unless you gotta say something worse than that. But then I might confront you. But to me, it wasn't that joke wasn't that serious. To me, again, I'm different. I didn't take it that serious. But
that's 100% fair. But I think if you have a wife in that situation that's suffering from something, it doesn't even have to be alopecia, just something. And you know she's really struggling with it, and you literally live with her, so you're experiencing it.
But she also made a choice to go out there bald. There's wigs, so she's obviously okay with it.
I mean, there is, but you also wouldn't expect someone to make fun of that.
He could have definitely avoided the topic altogether.
I mean, sure, but if I had emergency surgery and lost an ear, I wouldn't expect the person at a show to go, "Oh, I'm definitely bringing up that ear." Like, don't bring up my ear. Like, what the hell? I didn't want to cover it. Like, don't make fun of my ear.
Can you hear me?
Right. You know that would definitely be said. But I do want to give a whole bunch of credit to Will Smith. Because I said it on our Friday podcast. I said if he doesn't win for King Richard, I don't think Will Smith will ever have a better chance to win an Oscar than now. Because I feel as though Will Smith should have won an Oscar for 6 movies that he's had in the course of his career. So I'm like, shit, if he doesn't win it for King Richard, I don't know if he's ever in this position again. So I'm very happy for him. I'm very happy that Denzel pulled him aside, kind of calmed him down, let him know, like, hey, man, you don't take this for granted. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be careful now. Now is real deal time.
Him and Tyler Perry. Let's get real. He was here too.
Right. And shout out to Diddy, because apparently Diddy said he's what helped squash Smith and Chris Rock beef.
That's cool. I mean, they both apologized today, so it's all good.
Yeah, 100%. So again, those two are legends. They're icons. I know they love each other. So I think part of that was Will Smith just like, bro, you know me. Why would you like?
Yeah, you could have, right?
Yeah, come on, man. Jason Momoa is sitting right there. Give Jason Momoa that joke. Like, don't give me that joke. You know me. Come on, man.
But again, that joke was such a whack joke.
It was. That's where some people are like, bro, it wasn't even that funny. And I'm like, well, to him, funny or not, I think if it was funnier, it would have made it even worse.
Yeah.
If the whole arena is just like, oh my God, that's hilarious. And then everyone's like, hey, Jada has blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh shit, like, my bad.
I didn't even know alopecia had something to do with losing hair. There's a lot of shit
I didn't even know alopecia was a word. So a lot of things were brought to light. All right, let's move on. We got a whole bunch of movie news. The casting we got today for the show, was that the only casting that came down today? For the
no, there was 2 castings.
It was 2 castings. Okay, hold on. Let me bring up the castings here, because me and Joel have a lot to talk about with just that. Forget any other fucking news story. That is what made us scratch our head for hours. All right.
They posted it. I'm like, that was weeks ago. Like,
So Anna Lore has been cast as Stephanie Brown for CW's Gotham Knights series. I will say part of me is heartbroken that Stephanie Brown wasn't first properly introduced in Batwoman, but neither here nor there. So let me see. There was another one that came out today. I'm not aware of it.
Yeah, they casted Obsidian in Stargirl season 3.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I meant of Gotham Knights.
No. Okay. I'm just saying. In general, there's been 2 DC show castings.
Okay, we also did get, because we didn't talk about this, Misha Collins.
Misha Collins is Two-Face.
Yeah, will be Harvey Dent's Two-Face in
Gotham Knights.
In Gotham Knights also. So you're building up the Rogues Gallery for this. Again, I think Warner Brothers has a real serious problem of building up Batman villains really well. Like great castings, right? Great premises, and then it's just like, all right, guys, guess what? No Batman. It's like, why? Like why isn't this like just do something else? Like you're building up all these great characters and villains. Like I love what Batwoman did with Hush. That only made me want to see Bruce Wayne interact with Hush more. Like that hurt me to my core seeing how well they pulled that off. But what are your thoughts on those 2 castings, Joel?
Castings are great, actually. They're very good. Like, I've been since the beginning, and I wasn't very high on it when it first got announced, especially after we found out that it has nothing to do with the same cast as the game. Like the game I'm dying to play. I can't wait to play that game. But now the show of the same name is going to take a very different direction, and they're gonna do like at the time it felt like Robin and Friends, but the friends being like the children of villains, and I'm like, oh, I don't even know what the fuck they're doing. So it was confusing. I had no idea what do they mean. So it gets more confusing after we find out what characters they actually chose to be in the show. But that made me more intrigued and more excited when I found out they're going to bring in Spoiler, they're going to bring in Bluebird, they're going to bring in Carrie Kelly Robin. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then they bring in some dude named Oscar or some shit, or Taylor or whatever the fuck his actual name is going to be in the show. And I'm like, who the fuck is that? What do you mean adopted son? What the fuck? Who is that? A random motherfucker named Taylor?
But we know this, Joel. The CW loves this. Look, when remember how taken aback we were when they gave us the official cast for Superman and Lois, and we were just like, what? Why? Like, why 2 of them? Like, I don't understand.
I was taken aback. I really was. I was like, why are there 2 kids? I don't understand.
And then you watch it and you're like, all right, one was born with powers, one wasn't. And you're just like, oh, that makes it even more confusing. Like, now, albeit the show's great. The show's great. We have no problems with the show. The show is great.
It's just
but it was one of those like, why did you do that? Like, what was?
No, you're right. You're right. That was a random character made for CW. Jordan is not a character from the comic books. Right. Jordan does not exist. John exists. John has powers. You know what I mean?
And they went with him.
I mean, look, or blue. He does have blue eyes, but he's not blonde.
You talk me down from it, but I was always offended that in Arrow, instead of making Roy that go-to, that number 2, that brother, they gave it to Diggle. Now, albeit Diggle is a character in one of those Green Arrow comics.
He is now.
Felicity.
Diggle was created for the show. Then they added him to the comic.
That's right. That's what happened.
Felicity is a character from the comic books that was now there's a very different character.
Right.
Because Felicity in the comic books, I believe, was like Firestorm's stepmother or some shit.
Right. She was not that. She definitely wasn't that.
No, she was not.
I was heartbroken because I'm like, wait a minute. Because I never felt like Roy ever got his just due. Right? Because I'm like, you made Diggle this larger than life character. You made Felicity this larger than life character.
They were Team Arrow, yeah.
Right. And then it was kind of just like, all right, Roy's here. And it was kind of just like, all right, cool. All right, hi, Roy. And it was like, no. That should mean more. Like Black Canary and Roy didn't mean nearly as much as they should have meant.
Black Canary alone was completely ruined in that show. They did like 3 different versions of Black Canary, and Never one of them was right. So like,
each one of them had something that made you go, nope, that's
not it. That's close, but no cigar.
Right. But they're cool characters. Don't get me wrong. The actresses do a great job.
They were great actors. Had some of them had good costumes, and they eventually got the powers right. But it's just why three of them, and why none of them exactly the right way? I don't.
Right.
I
mean, because that's the question me and you had. Because we're like, bro, last time we saw Superman and Lois, there was one kid, right, and he was an infant. And then you blink, and it's like, all right, they're in high school. It's like, dang.
Well, after Crisis,
right,
they became teenagers, and they were twins. You're like, what the fuck happened?
Like, where did the other one manifest from? Like, what happened here? And they're
wasn't like Flashpoint, like Diggle, like, what was a gender bend? Like, his daughter became his son or some shit, or vice versa.
Right.
And then after Crisis, he got both of them. You know, he got his daughter back or whatever.
But see, I made the joke, Joel. We were talking about this when we did our Joker podcast. We were ranking the top 7 live action Jokers. And I was saying that Jared Leto still has an opportunity to reprise his role in the DCEU. And they were like, well, how? And I said, I've seen crazier things done on the CW. I don't think this will happen. I'm just saying something could happen. Because if you're telling me Michael Keaton's Batman is now in the DCEU as the mainstay Batman, right? You didn't change anything else. Harley Quinn still exists in that universe.
Harley Quinn does exist.
So I'm like, if Harley Quinn still exists, it's not weird to me that you're saying the Joker still exists.
A Joker could exist, but it could be a different Joker.
No, it could be, but I wouldn't be like, it makes no sense that it's Jared Leto. That's all I'm saying. No, I wouldn't be like, oh, that makes no sense.
I wouldn't do that because it doesn't make sense for Keaton's Joker. But I wouldn't even do Nicholson because even though he died in the original series, I would take the opportunity to finally do it with Willem Dafoe because it makes sense age-wise. You're like, oh my god, that's a perfect time to bring that. Imagine that Joker, amazing.
See, the only reason why I stuck my heels into Jared Leto, outside of obviously, you know how much I love Jared Leto as Joker, is because I'm like, well, if you do bring in a Joker, how do you justify that Harley Quinn's age didn't jump up, right? Like, so you're bringing in a Batman, so his Joker doesn't have to match his age. It just has the Joker.
It doesn't. It should, but it doesn't.
Oh, you're saying it doesn't? Oh,
I'm just saying it should. It doesn't have to, but it should. It should match. At least be close to it.
No, I got you.
I would prefer that, but not necessarily have to.
That's just the confusing part about bringing in an older Batman than the last Batman we had. Because then you go, well, wait a minute. Your Joker and Harley shouldn't still be that much younger, right? It should kind of match up to you. But then I go, well, if you're telling me Batman's not the main focus of this Bat family, right? I'm like, Jared Leto's Joker makes even more sense if you're going to bring in a Dick Grayson. You got Barbara Gordon. I'm like, because then you have a younger Joker in Harley Quinn versus your actual focuses of the Bat family, which are the Nightwings, the Batgirls, another Robin at some point.
I just don't think they're interested in bringing him back as Joker.
That's fair. And again, if it doesn't happen, this isn't me lobbying to bring him back. I'm just saying that is a way that they could utilize, and it wouldn't be a head scratcher because I'm like, well, Harley is still Harley. So I'm like, just bringing in the same Joker wouldn't be like, wait a minute, that's confusing. That would make a lot more sense.
It wouldn't be confusing at all, right? But I wouldn't. I tried. And now, if you're gonna do it, I think be creative and do what I just said because that's fucking perfect.
Yeah. But then if you're gonna do that, then I do want to see him as Batman a lot more. Than I don't want to see that Joker versus the younger Bat family because then I'm not interested in that. I need
I don't either. I just would like to see that Joker versus that Batman. It'd be really cool. Right. But at this point, like, why did he live so long?
That would be the question, right? And Jesus, then the question, look, and we don't have to snowball in this, but then it does become the question of if you do introduce a new Joker, do you then revisit Joker and Harley in any respects, or do you completely just go, this is completely?
I wouldn't mind toying with it, but I wouldn't lean on it. No, because I think Harley's her own character, so just,
That was the main reason why I said there probably won't be another Joker in the DCEU is because you've made Harley essentially like a hero.
Right, exactly.
So I'm like,
you don't have to.
Kind of just like, because again, I think it would really irk my soul, Joel, to know that there's a Joker in this pocket of the same universe, a Harley in this pocket of the same universe, but they never come together. And again, I don't need them madly in love again, but like just random team ups is like, why wouldn't you do that? So to me, I'm with you. If you're gonna do Willem Dafoe, cool. If not, then again,
and I don't need to see it.
Right, got a Joker in Matt Reeves' world. We thought we would have to wait for that. We just got it, so it's like that scratches my Joker age. And you're talking about doing a sequel to The Joker, so I'm like, I don't need multiple.
We don't need more Jokers. Correct. We already have enough Batman. We don't need more Jokers.
Right. We don't need to add the amount of villains to meet the amount of heroes. We don't need that.
It's already redundant. Let's move on.
Right. Very redundant. Right. I'm with you on that. All right. So give me the casting you got from Stargirl, because you were talking about that. So I want to make sure.
Sorry. I will do that now. Apparently, he got casted for season 3. So, and I think they just finished filming season 3. So he's been casted for a while. It's just they just finally told us who it was. Okay. God damn it! These phones are so damn sensitive.
Bro, they really are. When I was looking for the freaking Batgirl thing, it was so sensitive. I'm like, bro, relax.
Oh, like I touched one thing, 3 windows opened. I'm like, oh my god.
Goodness gracious. Like,
all right, so it looks like Todd Rice, aka the Obsidian, will be finally introduced in this season of Stargirl, played by Tim Gabriel. So that's cool. Good for him. I had a feeling, considering all the teasing they did of him last season.
Now, what's the character again?
Obsidian. Which is Jade's brother, Alan Scott's son, who is gay in the comic books.
Mm-hmm. I hope they stick with that. There's no need to change it.
They cast, apparently Tim, the actor is gay, so it works out. Or he's part of the LGBTQ community. I don't know if he's literally gay. He's one of those things. So I'm happy for that, because I'm happy for the character, because he's a cool look. Obsidian looks really cool. I'm not sure we'll actually see him in costume, just like we didn't see Jade in costume last year.
But I think that's a work in progress. I think
it's possible. I mean, hopefully down the line we get him in costume, because he's always been a cool looking character, and has cool powers. They're basically the cloak and dagger of.
No, that's what you were telling me before. That's what you were telling me on before, right? Right. Yeah. That's what made me really go, okay. Because remember, I knew the name Obsidian, but I didn't know enough about the character. And you were telling me about him, and I went and I looked it up. So I was looking at everything. I'm like, yeah, I get where Joel's coming from with that.
Yeah, they're basically power-wise. They're kind of like what I just said.
Cloak and dagger. Right. Mm-hmm.
Right.
One thing.
Their brother and sister.
Right. One thing I do like about Stargirl is they're building what the Arrowverse built without building into other shows. So like they're building a universe to where you could have a Stargirl crossover where like it's a massive villain and she has to assemble her team, and it's the full team, and that's when you see people in costumes.
That's because that show already shows from the beginning, from the very first episode, the JSA are an important part of that series. Right. And she's building a new JSA. That's all that's really is. She's now Stargirl, who apparently at the time she was thinking she was taking over her father. Well, now we know that's not the case, but either way, she has taken over the role of Stargirl with the Star Rod, and now she's recruiting other heroes to rehabilitate the JSA. And so we're now seeing other legacy characters show up. So I remember doing a list, because I know there's a JSA that's coming out in the movies with Black Adam, and now there's a JSA in the TV show, and I doubt they're gonna like use the same characters, so there's some parity. Right. So I'm like, all right, which characters might show up on TV? Which ones might show up in the movies? And I'm already, so far the TV show has gotten exactly who I expected to show up. Now I'm just waiting for the movies to see how many other than those 4. If it is just those 4, hopefully we see others in the future. Probably not the same ones that were from the TV show, but you never know, because we've already heard that there might be an Hour Man show, a movie. So I don't know. We'll see.
Right. You never know. And I kind of feel as though Jeff Johns still has pull in Warner.
He does.
I could see Stargirl somewhere in the movies at some point.
Possibly down the line, yeah.
You know, especially, and you want to know why I came to that conclusion, Joel? When you look at 2 of the main characters in that Black Adam movie, they're very young.
2 of the characters, yes.
Right. So I'm like, I could see them I could see them bringing in someone as young, like a Stargirl at some point.
I believe it was supposed to be Stargirl that was supposed to be in that role, not Cyclone.
I would
But
believe it. 100%
because of the show, they changed course. But I believe initially it was supposed to be Stargirl, because in the comic, Stargirl has a thing with Atom Smasher, who's in the
Yes.
movie.
But see, what me and you, Joel, and I always give you credit for this. Me and you have always said this for years now, that obscure characters, and I don't mean obscure in a disrespectful way, but obscure characters like Stargirl are better suited starting off as a series to get people kind of adjusted and kind of comfortable with the characters. Because if you do a movie and it doesn't hit, you could bury that character for forever.
Absolutely.
So if you do it in a series and people are like, I fucking love Stargirl, then it softens the blow for when you bring her up to the big screen.
I would have done CW very differently. I would have started with Arrow just like they did. I don't think I would have did Flash. I honestly don't.
I agree with you. We say that all the time. You went B or C level and then jumped to an A-lister.
Hey, right.
Like,
so I'm like,
there's no other A-listers really until obviously you got Superman.
You know how much you see how picky they are with the A-listers. So I'm like,
right. So I'm like, if you're not gonna go full board, don't do it at all.
Right. So that's why for me, it's like I would have went, and with the Flash show alone, you could have inserted. It could have been a Firestorm show, and you could have still kept most of the same cast in the same roles, because they used so many characters that were not Flash characters anyway.
And look, me and you liked is it Mr. No, not Mr. T. What's the character? He has the T.
Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Terrific, that's it. Thank you. Mr. Terrific deserved his own series. But because you've built the roster so wide, it's kind of like, nah, he just fits in the air, like in the Arrow show. And it's like, no, I would have liked to see that character kind of expand himself.
I hope for the future of Mr. Terrific that he joins the movie side of the universe, because I would like to. Because right now there's only 4 of them. I would love to see at least 5 of them on that in the movie side. Mr. Terrific would fit perfectly with them, so like, that'd be cool.
Yeah, 100%. This is something you would be excited about because I know nothing about, and that is Peter Gaudio, because I believe the T is silent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't really know how to pronounce it either.
You should be proud of me that I might have known that, if that's even right. But anyway, he is from the show that I did watch thanks to Prime, Queen of the South.
Okay.
He was one of the leads of Queen of the South. I fucking love that show. But Peter has been cast as Shanks in Netflix's live action series One Piece.
Shanks.
Is that something I should be excited for? Does you know, what do you know about Shanks?
The Shanks is basically the character. That's where he gets his hat from. That's from Shanks.
Luffy. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where you get. That's the guy that saves his. Well, Shanks saves Luffy when he's a kid, loses his arm saving Luffy, and at the end gives him his hat.
Okay. So it's gonna be cool to see No Hat Luffy, and then to finally see him gain the hat.
Well, he's a kid when he gets the hat.
Oh, but it might be a flashback.
Yeah, you'll probably see it in a flashback, because Shanks is not part of the main storyline. He's always usually in a flashback, normally. So that's probably where you'll see him and his crew. So it'll be fun to see the Shanks crew. I forget their name, but red hair Shanks. So I'm excited. I mean, I can't wait to see what these characters will look like, because there's a couple other people that came out and said we're in it. We're playing this character. I'm like, oh, cool. I want to see what these characters look like. Finally, will they hit the mark on, like, cosmetically, like what they should look like? That's going to be big for us as fans of One Piece, and a lot of people already not expecting it to do well, because I feel like I just don't want it to go down the same path as Cowboy Bebop, which it was a good show in my opinion, but a lot of people.
I loved everything about it.
It's so hard to change an anime fan's way of looking at reality, because it's anime and it's hard to translate that and make it live action. It really is. Yep. So the One Piece adaptation, because you got to remember, it's an adaptation of a fucking long ass series. Meshing it into 10 episodes at least, and making it, maybe, I guess it's I forget which arc it is. I can't remember off the top of my head, but the arc where you get the main, at least the starting 5 basically, and you get them together, and because they casted Arlong, so like we know they're at least gonna get to Fisherman Island. So I'm like, that's cool. All right, that's cool. And then there's a lot there, but to do that in 10 episodes is gonna be fucking insane. So really, they gotta hit the look, at least hit the looks out of the park to quell some of the worry, you know.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up because we were having this conversation in the Joker podcast that we did. And I was saying, me and Sabrina were getting real passionate about this, but we were saying, it terrifies me that there's a generation that believes Bane is supposed to look and be like Nolan's Bane, right? Because we now know, like, even the Harley Quinn show utilizes Bane like that, right?
As funny as that is, and that character is in that show, it is a little upsetting that
it is.
I went with the Dark Knight Bane voice,
right?
Instead of what he should sound like.
We were saying what's most upsetting about it is that in 10 years, right? Like let's say between now and 10 years, 5 or 10 years from now, right? Matt Reeves gives us Bane, like a comic accurate Bane, like legit, the veins, the
I would
pipes,
fucking
everything.
love.
There is going to be a good amount of people that, because Nolan's Batman was their first introduction to Batman, that'll go, that's not Bane. And we're just gonna be sitting there like,
yes,
no.
Well, it's just like everyone when Dark Knight Rises came out and like that Bane came out, and like it doesn't look as accurate as the one from Batman and Robin, but I'll take that new Bane over this piece of shit Bane for Batman and Robin.
Well, I mean, visually, they nailed it. It's just that was the only thing.
It was only visually where they nailed it.
Didn't even talk.
Like, he just great.
So I'm with you on that. But visually, he was decent sized, and then he grew like really fucking big.
He was a wrestler.
So I'm like,
he was a normal person that got really big. Which
so I'm like, they nailed it supposed to be. Right, they nailed it in that aspect.
That's it.
Not really anything else.
No.
And it's funny because Jayla got on me, and I want to give a shout out to Jayla. I was saying how, because me and you made this comparison, that obviously the Holy Trinity for us is Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman. But there is a generation that will think it's Iron Man, Cap, and Thor, right? And she jumped down my throat because she said, well, first of all, the Trinity technically would be Batman, Spider-Man, and Wolverine. And I'm like, well, yes.
That's my three.
I'm like, yes, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
She's absolutely right. But that's also bias speaking. But we're talking DC in general.
Right. Or if we do want to open it up until like the late 80s, 90s, it was Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Until you got your Wolverine that got super popularized, your Spider-Man that got
the 90s, Spider-Man and Wolverine were like, and Hulk were very popular.
Right. So that's why I'm saying I will never argue that. And if a kid told me that, I wouldn't get upset. I would say, okay, yeah, sure, you got me.
That's literally my three favorite characters. Like,
but in totality, from the beginning to now, it still is Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. Because no matter what age group, you know those characters. There's never I don't know much about. Wonder Woman, Superman.
You've heard of them, at least.
You've seen them in some medium, right? And Spider-Man could be put in that list. Wolverine could be put in that list, but for sure, your grandparents know Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Your great-grandparents
and they know them by name,
right?
Whereas there's still people that struggle with Wolverine and they say X-Man.
Yes.
That exists.
And they think he's the leader of the X-Men. So there's still a lot that's not yet fully fleshed out.
People. Like,
but I did want to give Jayla a shout out because I knew you would love to hear that, Joel. So I wanted to give Jayla.
I was very, I mean, she literally said, "Those are my characters. All three of those characters. That's my top three."
I can't wait till you pod with Jayla because she's a massive Spider-Man fan, like a massive Spider-Man fan. Right. That's what I'm saying. I can't wait for you two to pod together for her to kind of just rattle off all this knowledge and you to be like, yeah, no, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because a lot of times me and you aren't able to have these extensive conversations with people because their knowledge is limited. Again, it's not a slight. It's just that, it's limited. They don't read the books, which is no problem.
You don't want to. And that's different. Like, you don't you don't want to read it, or you don't. It's not something you grew up doing, so it's not in the mind.
So sometimes it limits what me and Joel can do conversation wise because you don't know enough, and the movies are never a great gauge on any of these characters because they are always different in some way or another. They're just
I
different.
mean, they're in spirit. They try, and that's fine. I mean, I love that. I don't mind that. I was talking to you the other day about sometimes if it's even for the better. Like I'll say this, I didn't like Iron Man at all as much as I do now because the movies helped 100%.
But
What
that's
they did,
biased because you didn't
huh?
like the whole mustache era.
Look, no, that's true, but but I'm talking about the character in general. I'm not saying visually Tony Stark. I had a thing for mustaches and blonde people. It is what it is. That is what I was a kid. It's the way they were drawn. I hate porn stashes, and all the blonde guys always look the same. It just bothered me. Um, and I didn't see myself in those people. So you see, that's the difference. That's all it was.
Right.
That's weird, but that's all. As a kid, I couldn't find that repertoire with a mustache person or a blonde person. I just couldn't. It just bothered me.
I love
it. It's the weirdest thing, but as a kid, I had a bias against them. I'm like, ew, blonde people. It's so stupid, but like that's why it's taken me so long to really like Captain America and Thor. Like the movies have helped me like them more. But as I read them, I had the comic books, but like I didn't relate. I didn't see myself. You know what I mean? Like you watch, you look at a comic book and you can see yourself in the comic. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. I couldn't with them. I just couldn't. I just don't know why.
I couldn't with X-Men. There was not one character I saw myself in X-Men. So I didn't really get, the movies didn't help me get into X-Men. What helped me get into X-Men is when I got old enough to really dive into X-Men the animated series. And then I got like a true love for the characters, but I still didn't see myself in anyone, but I just loved the characters.
Yeah.
But Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man for me, you know this, Joel, because we talked about this at nauseum. The Ultimates is the only reason I love these characters. Not the cartoons, not the movies. The Ultimate Comics is why I love Spider-Man. Is why I love Iron Man, Thor. It's why I said I thought it was so weird when Feige gave Kenneth Branagh the okay. Branagh, yeah, sorry. The okay to go the direction he did in Thor. I'm like, you built an ultimate universe. Why aren't you going more of the hippie Thor? Like the Thor that you really can sink your teeth into rather than the purest form of a Norse god. Because the way he went about it was a little boring, right? So I'm like,
he went the classic Shakespearean way,
right.
which is what the comics did. I mean, I don't shit on him because that's how it was supposed to be. They obviously went a different way. He was not like Chris wasn't having fun with it anymore because of that, right? So they let him have more humor, and now it's like a whole fucking thing. So I mean, and good for it because
now he's more like the Ultimates, because he never takes himself too seriously.
Ultimate Thor had a beard.
Yes,
and that's another thing. I wasn't into beards and shit. Like,
you didn't even like some of the stories the Ultimates were doing.
No, later. In the beginning, I liked it all, but like later, they were fucking terrible. And
we were laughing the other day because we were just like, bro, the funniest thing in the Ultimates is Freddie Prinze Jr. taking Betty on a date and causing Bruce to destroy half of New York City.
Yeah. They start with Grey Hulk. He was kind of ate people. It was, I mean, there were some choices made. I have Wolverine. I have Wolverine, Ultimate Wolverine versus Ultimate Hulk.
Yes.
That series. He ripped Wolverine in half, bro.
Yes, he did.
They made Wolverine 6'2" in that because fucking Hugh Jackman was 6'2", so he was a tall. And he looked cool though. I'll give him that. But he was so tall in the series. The X-Men, I loved Ultimate X-Men, especially in the beginning. Again, everything later on, they just did whatever.
Especially those suits, Joel. The Ultimates did a real good job.
They should have. That's what they should have adapted to the movies. Was those suits because they were good suits. But they did a really good job. Ultimate X was good. Ultimate Spider-Man, it's almost as good as 616 to start. You know.
Yeah. You know what? I was saying this yesterday, and I was saying to myself, man, I'm glad Joel wasn't here in real time to hear it. It's better for him to hear it on our podcast. But I was saying, because I try to remind people all the time, Spider-Man the animated series debuted in 92, right? X-Men the animated series was like 93, 94. I try to remind people, I didn't mean X-Men. I meant Batman. It was around the same time.
Yeah, 92.
I try to remind people I was only born in 93, right? So it's like by the time I was old enough to know like what I'm looking at.
You got the second series.
Right. I got Spectacular. Well, first of all, I got the MTV series came first.
2000.
That was when Neil Patrick Harris was the voice of Spider-Man. I really enjoyed
that. It was
that.
a good Spider-Man. It was.
I didn't have a problem with it.
It wasn't a great Spider-Man.
To me, I always say my Spider-Man and my Batman are different. And it's not because I think not the old ones, but the original ones are bad or like I can't get into it. It's just I usually go by what like I watched when I was old enough to know what the fuck I was watching. So to me, because I was like, Joel always goes question mark when I say it. But I'm different. So for the Batman series I prefer the Batman. That's my Batman series.
I love the Batman, but no.
Right. And my Batman voice actor I prefer is the guy who voiced it for the New 52. That's like, to me, when I hear Batman.
The only thing that is blasphemy, but I'll let you go.
Look, again, I'm not saying he's better than Kevin or anything.
Oh, you better not.
When I hear it, that's the one I personally like was given an opportunity to choose. It wasn't like for you, Kevin Conroy was all you had animation wise. There was no other ones, right? So you grew up on that. So it was just like you grew to love it because that was honestly all you had. And I'm not saying it like he was bad or anything, but I was able to come up where I had so many options, right? Like I had so many different ones.
Too many options. It was annoying at that point. I'm like, I get it. You want to try to tell other people, but
right. I mean, because a lot of people, Joker for them is Mark Hamill, right?
Yeah.
But I was telling the group yesterday, what a lot of people don't give credit to is Troy Baker. For a lot of people,
Troy Baker sounds just like Mark Hamill. So
yes, to a degree, yes. To be fair, to a degree, yes. I do believe that mainly was because Troy Baker came in the middle of that Arkham series. And they
they changed Arkham Origins. Changed it. Troy Baker was Joker, and this dude was Batman. I forget his name. But he sounded very different than Kevin Conroy. You're like, whoa, talk about a drastic change. It was very hard to get used to. But that series, that's Arkham Origins, is fantastic.
Oh, 100%. But I was saying that the reason why I took to the Batman so much was it gave me a proper structure of Bruce's life, right? So season 1 was all about, I only care about being Batman. It's all about me. It's all about being Batman. It's all about the code, right? And then season 2 opens with him having to change some of that with the arrival of Batgirl, right? And then you get a few episodes down the line, then you get Dick Grayson. And then it's like, well, now I have to drastically change who I am to kind of acquiesce to this kid now living with me. So you see the evolution of Bruce. And then by the end of the series, this Bruce has evolved so much, it's fucking working with the Justice League. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you saw the full evolution.
There was no women on that Justice League, and his kids were really young.
Very, very, very young. You are right about that. But I was just shocked that the Justice League was something you could introduce with this Batman, because he seemed very like, all right, I open myself up to the kids. That is enough. And then Superman comes and it's like, oh, this really fucking works. So again, for me, like I said, my choices aren't more so on nostalgia. It's more so on, I'm literally going by what raised me. And Spectacular Spider-Man to me is what raised me. It's why I go number one.
Spider-Man is one of the greatest Spider-Man cartoons ever.
100%.
There were only 2 seasons. It didn't last long enough, in my opinion.
I agree, but to
it's
me,
not its fault. You know?
I was just about to say that. To me, it's the same treatment they gave to the Green Lantern. It wasn't the show's fault. The show was great. It was that it wasn't bringing in enough toys or merchandise or eyes or whatever, so it ended. But Spectacular Spider-Man and The Batman is what raised me.
Yeah. Batman, the animated series, did stuff you didn't see at the time. Same thing with X-Men. They were adult. They were allowed to be not kiddie, and that's not what it is. Everything's too kiddie now. The kids are not allowed to those shows are technically adult these days. You know what I mean? And Spider-Man, like I grew up, there was a connected Marvel cartoon universe. It just never did a good job of connecting them. You know what I mean? Because back then we had Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, we had the Hulk. I think so. Had a short span.
Yeah. You know how much I love that series.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Joel was like, that was a snore fest for me. I'm like,
it was not very entertaining. I wanted to like it, but it was just so boring. It was just, I don't understand. I love the Fantastic Four show. Was good. I like that. Wait, mainly because it had so many cameos. It's crazy.
Which one?
Fantastic Four, the original.
Okay, then again, that's where we differ, because the one that raised me was the newer one. The one that's on Disney Plus, that obviously looks drastically different than the original. Yeah. That's the one that raised me. Yeah, that's
that one. That was short too. That didn't live long. They didn't have nearly as many episodes as the other Fantastic Four show.
No, and you know what? I was telling you this before. The main reason why Silver Surfer animated show took me is as much as it did was, I guarantee you've read comics with Silver Surfer, right? Before that show came out.
Yeah, not many.
I had no introduction to Silver Surfer but that show. So that's the biggest difference. So to me, not all, but most of my knowledge at that time came from that show. And then that show is what made me want to go read comics. You read some comics, so you had a base. And then you saw the show and you were able to compare the two and go, well, I don't need to see any of this shit. Put them on the board already. Like, so you were able to make that.
Yeah, decision. I didn't know. That was definitely like, wow. And I just want to see the Silver Surfer. Like, what am I watching?
Oh man, I love it. So I did want to tell you, because it's 2 hours and I know you're not gonna watch it, but I did want to tell you. So my list for that Joker top 7, my list was Leto, Monahan.
Wait. In order? Is it in order, or yeah, going backwards?
In order. No, in order. From 1 down.
Leto was 1?
No, Leto was number 1 for me. Leto, Cameron, Barry, Ledger, Phoenix, Nicholson, Romero.
What was 3rd?
3rd was Barry.
Really?
Yeah.
He really did anything.
In timeout. That was the same thing everyone said about me putting Leto at number 1. Even though Leto did slightly more than Barry. You can make an argument. You can make an argument. It was only like 3 more minutes than Barry had that Joker had. But again, I said what it came down to is the feeling I got when I saw it. Me and you talked about Cameron, that first episode of The Circus. Remember when his mother died in the circus?
Cameron was great.
It shook me to my core. I didn't really like a lot of what they did with the whole Jerome and all that shit. But him as just that character,
him as a pre-Joker was great. When he actually became the Joker, he was fugly. Yeah, I was on purpose, but still.
And remember, the biggest thing, Joel, they wouldn't even fucking call him Joker.
No, that's why they drastically changed the way he looked, and they wouldn't call him Joker. So it's like, was he Joker? And sort of.
Right. He was like, because we kept saying, is he like an imitation of something that maybe existed before? And he's pulling from that, or is this like the first ever? We didn't know, right?
And they kill him, Jerome, and it's really Jeremiah that becomes the Joker.
The real Joker, right? And it was just like,
he's the crazy one. Like, okay, whatever. It was weird, but he did a great job when he was focused on trying to be the Joker. It was great.
And that laugh was great. I love that fucking laugh. He did a really good job with that laugh.
He was allowed to be the Joker, because even when he looked like the Joker. Because even when he looked like the Joker, like he had the makeup in it, he wasn't acting. He was more serious when he was being that Joker. Or that version of it. You're like, oh my God, just put it together. And they wouldn't do it.
They would never do it. So I bring this up so people don't think like I'm just randomly bringing this up. I bring this up so we can go into Matt Reeves gave us the 5 minute and 5 second.
What was Ledger?
Huh?
Where'd you put Ledger?
Was 4. No, 5.
Jesus Christ.
No. 4.
Sure.
4. He was 4. He was 4. He was 4.
Oh, okay.
He was 4.
Still middle.
Yeah, but you know my philosophy on that. We don't have to go down that road. That's again, I just never felt like that was the Joker that I had always wanted to see. Not saying he wasn't, not saying it was a bad performance, not saying any of that. I made that very clear when we did this podcast. I am not saying it was a bad performance or anything. It's just a feel thing for me. Like, I remember when I watched Val Kilmer as Batman, I never felt like that was Batman. I never felt like Clooney was Batman. I thought they were great Bruce Waynes, but I never felt like Batman was
the same character. They weren't very different outside of costume.
They were not at all. That was what was the most frustrating. So again, to me, like I said, it's just a preference. It's not me saying what was better, what was worse. it only came down to preference. And I was saying the reason why Romero and Nicholson were at the bottom was that I thought when I rewatched
past your time.
Oh, yes. But it wasn't even how they acted. The reason I had them low was when I watched Nicholson, I feel as though they were like, all right, we just saw what Cesar Romero did. What if we did that, but darker? And that's essentially what I think Nicholson was. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all. Again, I'm not saying anyone that did the Joker did a bad job. It just comes down to preference for me. That's it.
Joaquin was on the list?
Yeah, he's number 5. He's number 5. And the biggest reason why he's so low is because you're giving me and again, I know that was the whole structure of it, but you're giving me a Joker. Again, no Batman acid. You're going too realistic. And it's like, I can't put Phoenix high when I just said that's the reason why Ledger wasn't higher. It's because you went too grounded. It wasn't the idea of the comic booky feel of it. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of why I put them lower. But again, performances were all-time great. Both of those movies were all-time great movies. I will always defend that.
Those two would definitely be higher on my list.
Who would be your number one if I had to put you on the spot?
That's a tough one. It probably would be Ledger. Ledger was just awesome as the Joker.
There was maybe 5 of us, 5 or 6 of us. And Sabrina and Blake went Cameron for number 1.
Cameron was great, but not everyone's gonna know Cameron. Not that it should matter, but
no, right.
He wasn't enough. He wasn't the Joker enough for me to put him that higher.
Fair. Yeah. That's fair. Jayla, Bidge, and Tristan all went Ledger. I think Jayla went Ledger.
Hard not to. It really, for me. It's hard.
And I went Leto. So me, Sabrina, and Blake were the drastically different than what you would assume most people would put as their number 1.
Yeah.
And of course, we didn't add in animation, so it was just live action only.
That's fine. What are you gonna do? And look, I love Cesar Romero Joker, but I would put him probably at the bottom because that's a time.
Most people had him at 7. At 6 or 7. Most people had him at 6 or 7.
Yeah, and it's not because he was a bad Joker. It's just it's a different time period. It's like Adam West will probably, maybe he wouldn't be because I probably would have him over certain other ones, but like a lot of people.
You grew up with Adam West, right?
Huh?
You grew up with Adam West was the only thing Batman you had.
No. Michael Keaton was the first thing I saw. I went backwards. I saw Keaton, and then after that, I watched the '60s Batman.
When did Batman came out in 80? It was 89. It was 89, right?
Yeah. I was 4. Like,
I don't know why I thought that came out. No, I think I was just wrong. Okay, I was just wrong. All right, I was just wrong.
Adam West was '60s Batman, and I watched it on reruns. Like I used to watch it before I used to go to sleep. Right. But it's because it was Batman, and I like Batman because I like the movie Batman. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I watch anything Batman. Like
now we have so many other options. It's like Adam West is like the last thing people would go to because
it was either Adam West or was the cartoon that was just based off of Adam West before the Batman animated series. So was it or the similar one to the Adam West Batman, or it was the only movie one at the time, which is Keaton. Right. And then eventually Batman the animated series came out, and then we had that option. Oh shit, Kevin Conroy's Batman. But live action Jokers though, I would probably Ledger be 1, and probably Romero would be 7. The fight would be for 2, like because I do like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, but I can't put Barry Keoghan's Joker up high because first I saw like 3 minutes of him, and not a clear version of him. Like it was a lot of him in mystery. His voice is like okay. He's a little too grotesque for me, but that can grow on me if I see a better version. Because all I keep seeing are spliced images, and I don't think that's working. It makes him look worse than he actually is. Mm-hmm. So I need to grow on me a little bit more. But I do expect to see hopefully him as a lead at some point, maybe in the Arkham series. That'd be fucking awesome. But so, I want to see more of him, of course.
I want to get into that because a lot of people missed it because it's a blink and you miss it. But there are 2 paper clips on the file that Bruce gave him, and when Bruce takes it back, 1 paper clip. So in my mind, I immediately was like, "Fuck, that's gonna play out in the Arkham series." I'm really hoping they do that because I was saying on the podcast, how freaking dope would it be if the start of the next Batman movie is how the first ever Arkham game starts, where Joker breaks out, takes over Arkham, and it's Batman having to break into Arkham and stop everything that's going on. And I'm like, that would just play out. Even if you did that as the Arkham series, that would be freaking dope. Like that's the season finale of like Batman having to break in and stop everything that's going on. And then the next movie kind of touches on like, bro, did you see when Batman came in here and whooped everyone's ass? And it's like, yeah, we remember that. We saw that. Because again, we were robbed of seeing Batman put Joker in prison.
I wouldn't mind seeing it in a flashback. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, if we can't get it in a flashback, at least seeing him put him back in prison in the Arkham series would be really
cool. Because he's like, it's been a year, so it's like he's been doing it for 2 years. I mean, almost a year ago, he met this dude and put him in Arkham.
Now I'm really curious if there was any cognizant mindset behind how those guys looked at the beginning of the Batman that he took down at the train station. Because remember, me and you kept saying like they look like they have something to do with Joker, but nothing was ever said. Right. But now that we know we have a Joker, it's now more curious of like, is that just a thing for them? Like, I'm very curious. I would love to hear someone ask Matt about that.
Maybe, but they also didn't. They were if they were the Joker, like if they were Joker copies. They I don't know if they were acting very much like the Joker. You know what I mean?
No, but again, we have no idea what the scope of what they want Barry's Joker to be, right? Like, is this the completely insane posse like we know from the Batman the Animated Series? Like, we have no idea the scope. I'm with you in the sense of they probably weren't, but I'm very curious of the look. You know what I'm saying? Like, what went behind the, like, they could have just had their faces painted. No smile going on here, nothing. So that's it. But I do not disagree on the concept of probably just overthinking it. They probably just designed them like that. You know, nothing behind it. But what were your thoughts on the 5 minutes and 5 seconds? Because I have watched it that religiously. On the deleted scene.
I've only seen it the one time. It's funny.
Oh, you only seen it just the one time? Okay. Yeah. All right. So was it like the one time and you were good, or was it like the one time and you're like, it's kind of something I'd rather see play out in like the format, the flow of an actual movie? So like, I don't really need to go back to it.
I never went back. Not that I didn't want to. I never made time to go back to it. I did want to. I just didn't get to. It had nothing to do with me not liking it. I enjoyed the scene. I would have been fine if they kept it in, but they obviously cut it, and I'm fine with that. But they cut it.
Everyone on Friday kept saying like, I'm glad it wasn't in it, and I'm like, I don't understand that. I'm like, now to be fair, Jayla did lay out like, if he had taken Joker's help, it would have washed away how Bruce came to the conclusion that he came to. And I'm like, okay, in that respect, okay, fine. He had to take his bumps and bruises to actually figure everything out. But I'm like, that Joker scene didn't give him the answer. He just put him on the right path to finding the answer.
Right.
I'm like, it wouldn't have robbed it for me at all.
Not me neither. My only issue is like, I'm cool that they cut it because it was already fucking 3 hours. That's 2:55. It would have literally been 3 hours if they kept it in. They also would have like, I don't know how, again, I don't know what the choice, the decision and the design of the Joker look. They can tweak now if they want to, because that wasn't part of the original cut. So they can play with it, and then we're like, oh, he didn't look like that in the last movie. Well, you didn't see what he actually looked like.
Right. You only saw a little bit.
Some of it, right. So yeah, for me, it's perfectly fine that it got cut because of stuff like that. Now they can tweak it if they want. But it's whatever. I mean, I'm open to whatever they want to do, but I'm just happy that there was a scene and I got to see a little bit more of the Joker. Like we were talking about on the way, like, what does he look like? And he kind of does look like fucking a Bermejo Joker, sort of.
Yeah.
Except much less hair. I was not expecting that.
I know I know I said this when we did the podcast Sunday, but the Joker I was hoping Barry's was, and it looks like he probably won't be, but who knows what they changed it into is. I was really hoping for Death in the Family. That's the Joker.
Oh, face mask on?
Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted that. That's why I was like,
That's even worse than the one we got.
To me, that's one of my favorite looks. That was like out of all the shitty things they did on Gotham, that was the one I was just like, yes, I love. Like that because to me, it's not necessarily the look, it's how deranged that Joker was. Like he wasn't more so maniacal. He was more so like cold-blooded killer. That was when he was under Jim Gordon's bed, came out and shot him in the chest. Like that Joker was just different.
He was like Leatherface meets the Joker.
Yes, he was, bro. Yes, he was.
It was weird.
So again,
how are you walking around not in pain? Like,
but see, that's one of the things I was always curious about because I'm like, is it not pain because he has that laughing disorder? So it's like it's kind of like a way to offset the pain, or is it legit this motherfucker doesn't feel it? Like that was my question. Well,
apparently Matt wanted his Joker to be like born with the smile, apparently, like the disfigurement, which I'm fine with. But it looks like it's that plus more. Looks like he did get washed in acid.
Yes, it does. Like it looks like a realistic but comic book take of like what a person would look like if you pulled them out of acid, right? Like they just fell in it, you pulled them out, nothing is gonna look good.
Oh, he's all he got acid burns everywhere. His hair is all frizzy. It's like, wow. I wonder what. That's why I'm wondering what they're gonna do when we see him again. What he looks like.
Yeah, I'm with you. I enjoyed the scene for this biggest reason. I've always felt robbed that we've never gotten Arkham. And then what's so important about Arkham is, because I know a lot of people that maybe don't read Batman comics aren't familiar with it. Batman often goes and asks his rogues gallery for help. Because there's like a few things he just doesn't and I know when I say that it makes it sound bad, but it's not like that. It's more so like getting into the mind of a killer. What better way than to ask a killer? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we know this in things like The Long Halloween, him depending on Calendar Man. We know this with him depending on Riddler a lot, him going to Joker a lot. It's just something beautiful about Batman walking through the halls of Arkham and us seeing all the different cells of people he single-handedly put in there. It's just something so powerful about that, right?
Cool.
It is. So it's like a chance to see that. Because, bro, the cop opened the door like it was nothing. Like, yeah, walk in, Batman. Go ahead, sit down, talk to him. Like, bro, that's awesome. Like, what? Because all we saw that whole movie was the cops like, no, fuck Batman. And now we're seeing a deleted scene of a cop just like, yeah, Jordan's
let me in.
Sure, yeah. Right, like, yeah. And then I think what really sold me on Barry of because again, I think I graded him more so on potential. Like I graded him like he was a draft prospect, like what I think he could be. But what really stood out to me was that he annoyed Batman so much. Batman was leaving. You know what I'm saying? Like he got to him that much, and Batman's like, I don't fucking have time for this. And to a lot of people, it's like Batman was annoyed. To me, Batman wasn't annoyed. That was Batman pulling mind games. Batman knowing that if Joker doesn't have an audience, he isn't the Joker. He feels most like Joker when he has an audience. So I think Batman knew leaving would get him the results he wanted. So I'm like, I just love how that whole thing played out. I love that it was 5 minutes and not a quick 1 minute clip like I originally thought it was, because a lot of people only had like only a minute of it. So I'm like, damn, it was only like a minute? Okay. All right, it's just a deleted scene, I guess. Then when Kanan was like, no, it's 5 minutes. I'm like, 5 minutes?
Full 5 minutes, yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. So I watched the whole thing and I'm like, I love it. I really do. I don't usually grade a Joker off of a laugh because I still to this day don't think a laugh has ever been better than Mark Hamill's. So I'm like, if I were to grade a laugh, I wouldn't like any Joker. I wouldn't like. So I'm like, I don't have a problem with his laugh. If I didn't have a problem with Leto's laugh, no way I could have a problem with Barry's laugh.
That was probably the worst laugh. That was weird laugh.
I usually classify it as definitely the most different. I try to be nicer about it. It was definitely the most creative for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, like I said, I felt Joker. Like I felt the Joker. And I know Tristan was saying one of his requirements for a Joker is I need to feel scared, like intimidated by the Joker that I'm watching. So if he's making me laugh, you've ruined yourself already. So I kind of felt that with Barry. I loved every second of it. And I just need Matt Reeves to hurry up, greenlight this part 2, and just start talking about it. Like that's really all I want. I just want you to start talking about what you want to do with this second movie, who you want to go with, just so I can talk with Joel and Sabrina, because she is a diehard Batman fan, just so I can talk with the two of you for hours on just speculating. Like, all right, he said this. Where do we think this can take us? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I know me and you, and I know Sabrina to a degree, but I know me and you are very more open-ended than most on whatever he wants to do with part 2. Like, we have things we would like to see.
I don't give a fuck. Do whatever you want. I trust you.
When you do a movie like that for number 1, you've earned carte blanche for number 2.
That's exactly right.
Whatever.
I mean, I don't. Plus, I don't want to put too much thought into it and not really get any of it. You know what I mean?
But
So
to be fair, I think with Matt Reeves, we can agree it'd be very difficult for him to disappoint us. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not live up to all of our expectations, but to disappoint us?
No, I'm usually happy with whatever. I just, I like thinking off of clues because it's a reality now. So I don't want to guess about something. There's no context to like that yet. So like,
right.
Why
That's what I'm saying.
spend
Once he
time-
starts talking, it'll all become a lot more fun to have
I mean,
fun.
it'd be fun to speculate where it can go, but like now we're just going off. Now we're just fantasizing. So,
Right. We're going in circles essentially because we have no idea. Right.
Right.
I wanted to talk about this rumor. It's an old rumor, but obviously rumors always resurface to seem new. And that rumor was from Daniel that Storm could be making her first MCU debut in Thor: Love and Thunder.
I don't think that's true at all, but we'll see.
Look, all I'm saying is this. Could it be true? Probably not. Would it make sense? As a mutant? No. No, I won't disagree with you there because I already know where you're going, Joel. But a movie about gods and thunder? It's like, well, she is a goddess, and I would say thunder and lightning is definitely one of her qualities.
It isn't the first time we've heard that rumor.
That's what I'm saying, right? It's not new. That's not new.
But I don't believe, and apparently it came from Daniel's, Patreon,
right?
And I haven't seen him like either confirm or deny it yet, so we'll see.
You know what it could be, Joel? It could be one of those things that was maybe a concept that got leaked, but it wasn't a used concept. Like it was like, remember how what's his name for Black Panther wanted to use Storm and wanted to use all these other characters that he couldn't. Yeah. Right. There were concepts, but in reality, it wasn't something he could actually do. So Storm could have been one of those things where Taika was like, fucking got Thor. How cool would it be to have Storm with Thor? Not dating, but like alongside fighting with Thor, you know? No. And then Feige walks in and is just like, no. It's like, throw that in the garbage. Hell no. Wanda's my only mutant right now. Why would I let Storm come out?
And we haven't even officially admitted that. So like,
right, yeah. So it's like, let's hold on a second. Because now what people are assuming and running with is that we're not getting a Thor trailer yet because they want to wait until Doctor Strange to see what they explain with mutants. And I'm like, well, no, I don't think that, because why would he put Storm in the first trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder? Like, no, I don't think that lines up whatsoever. No. Right. So I'm like, I don't think one has anything to do with the other, because he would just splice a trailer that has nothing to do with Storm. So I'm like, I don't think that has anything to do with each other. That might have something to do with why Storm isn't in the movie, because it's maybe too soon. Because we don't even fully believe they'll explain mutants in Doctor Strange.
Not fully, I don't think.
Right, we think they'll show mutants, and then we'll have to kind of figure out everything later. Right, so I think that makes more sense. But all right, let's move on. In the Oscars last night, Zack Snyder was 2 for 2 with the Oscars cheer moment going to Zack Snyder's Justice League for Flash's Speed Force moment. And then the Oscars fan favorite went to Army of the Day. Now, I didn't watch the Oscars. I don't know what the other nominees were. So all I can say is, okay. All right. I don't know. I can definitely tell you if someone, because me and Joel got to watch that Snyder cut before it actually came out. I don't think I had a massive cheer moment for that. I really don't. I don't remember it. I don't think I did. Like, I don't think about that moment and then go, yeah, that was fucking epic. I think the thing that I cheered more about is that he didn't run as weirdly as he originally did. So I think I cheered for that. But I think the only really true cheer moment I had for that movie was when we saw the alternate reality of like when Darkseid had killed everyone, Clark Love, and he succumbed to Darkseid. Like seeing all that play out,
that was cool. Yeah,
I know I cheered for that. I know for damn, because we got the Omega Beam.
That was probably the coolest part.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, I think that was my favorite.
There was a lot of cool parts in that movie, but like, and entering the Speed Force was a great moment in the movie, you know.
Yeah.
And I'll say this: when I first heard that he won, I didn't know what the fuck this award was. So I'm like, oh, cool. I was very happy because I'm like, first of all, everybody's been shitting on the Flash movie. So I'm like, I'm very happy the Flash won something. Right. Good for the Flash. And I was very happy in that regard. But these same fucking people, I just realized when I found out that it's a fan vote, I'm like, oh. And I said, they ruined it. It's tainted. Yeah, it's like, because we know what happened. You know what I mean? We know exactly what happened. Why it's not a coincidence that it's both Zack Snyder wins. Not at all. They're both tainted. It's a fucking NBA All-Star game. That's what it is.
It's like when you hear LeBron
trust the fans.
Right. It's like when you hear LeBron's the captain, but you're like, LeBron didn't have a better year than blah 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 in the same. Yeah, it's like, oh, but fans voted, so that makes all the sense in the world.
Like the year Allen Iverson made the All-Star team, he did play a game.
Bro, hold on. The year I think the All-Star game was in Atlanta and half the fucking Hawks made the All-Star team, and it's like, all right, hold on.
One time in the Warriors, Pachulia almost made the All-Star.
Yeah, but that was from
as a starter.
That was from Pachulia. I think that was from his home country. Like they all
but still, that's the point. The point is you can gang vote and and take the the results. It's tainted. It's not a real win. I mean it's a fan vote, but it's because that fan base is ridiculous.
And you know what was even funnier about it winning the fan vote is I remember a month ago everyone was saying how, because we were talking about this with my dad. Everyone was like, "Oh, Spider-Man's gonna win that. Oh, for sure. No way."
No, and a normal fan vote, yeah, it probably would have.
I mean, because even when they showed it, like when I watched it over when it won, and they showed the three Spider-Men landing together.
How was that not the biggest moment?
Right, and then they showed Barry running, and I was just like, something don't add up
here. Yeah, well, just look at the competition, like.
Yeah, hold on, wait a minute.
This is crazy. What? No.
I don't understand.
That's because one fan base is insane.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's a tainted vote. They essentially gave themselves the fucking award.
100%. That's why Tom didn't show up. Tom found out early. So, fuck that. No, they're crazy.
It's a fan vote? No.
Yeah, he said, they're crazy.
I have normal fans. I don't have
my fans live in reality. That's what my fan base is. But no, I want to say this in all seriousness before we move on. We understand we understand fans' obsession with Snyder, right?
Fanatics.
Right. We get it. And we're not trying to say that you're less than or anything like that. We're just trying to say, we just want you to open your eyes to more things than just Snyder.
I'm just saying, you can't take that and be proud when you know you basically gave yourself an award.
Well, that is true. But also, Joel, usually whenever there's a DCEU movie coming out, the hate that's being led is usually by them. Because it's not.
But that's what pissed me off more. They gave the Flash the award only to shit on that motherfucker next year. And that's going to piss me the fuck off.
You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Because those are the only people that's shitting on it right now.
Yeah. He's the reason they're winning.
Right.
But they're going to do their best to shit on that motherfucker next year. That's not fair.
But here's the funny thing, though. From what I saw, I'm not saying this for all Snyder fans. From what I saw on Twitter after he won, there were people that were congratulating Snyder, not the scene. They were giving all the credit to Snyder, they said, fuck the scene. Zack won something. So that was what their interest was in, not the scene, not anything else.
To him. And that's the problem. It's like, you weren't chosen, you chose yourselves.
Right.
Like,
yep.
That's my issue. And I think I saw someone complaining that, like, why are we upset that the they chose themselves.
Yeah.
They obviously it's tainted. It's a fan vote.
First of all, no one's upset because we don't give a fuck, right? We didn't win an award. So I mean,
it's annoying. That's all. Like, I'm not I don't care. But
that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, we're not mad that Zack won. We're not that invested. It's not like our movie was going up against his. We're not that invested. All we're saying is you guys sometimes make it so not fun to root for things because you're so obnoxious that it's like, well, look, it's like I remember when Eagles won the Super Bowl, right? I said, you know what? I'm gonna suck it up. I'm gonna congratulate them. The first thing I open up my inbox to is, you fucking suck. Fuck the Patriots. Oh, yeah, go die. And I'm like, all right, see, this is why. This is why I can't be nice to you pieces of shit, right? This is why. So that's all I'm saying about Snyder.
When we beat the Patriots that first time, I called my friend that lived in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing she said, the fucking Knicks suck. I'm like, that's not the point. That's not the point.
But that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, Snyder fans sometimes make it feel like that, to where it's like, just when I was ready to say, you know what, congrats, I'm happy for him, I'm happy for you guys.
I was happy. I was genuinely happy.
And then they make it feel like, oh my God, I forgot who I was talking to. I forgot. That's my fault. That's my mistake.
That's what upsets me. It's just like, they make it very hard. They really do. And like, it's a fan vote. Everyone gets a vote. Yeah, but these motherfuckers probably paid other people to vote for them. You know what I mean?
You know what? Time out. We don't even believe that. You want to know why we don't believe that, Joel? Because clearly there's enough of them that greenlit that Snyder cut. So if there's enough of them to drive home that movie to happen, there's clearly enough for them to outvote the world.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. Think about this.
There's enough.
Probably is enough. But at the same time, they definitely overdo it. You know what I mean? Did you vote?
No. I didn't even know.
Did you know anybody that voted?
Hell no.
Do you know who did vote? His whole fan base.
That is true. Yep.
And that's the difference.
Yep.
We don't give a fuck. You know who gave a fuck? Those motherfuckers gave a fuck.
Part of me, Joel, part of me is terrified that I just pulled a Larry David. That I could have voted for Spider-Man and it was so short. One vote. Somewhere, John Watts is like, we lost by how many? 2? And he's like, what? 2 people didn't vote? And me and Joel are sitting at home just like, we could have voted? Oh, shit. Did
they give out the results? What was the percentage?
I now want to know, because now I feel guilty.
I feel guilty, yeah. Like, well, that's my fault then. Yeah.
It's my fault, right? I'm not a fan. But really, it's my fault. All right, so let's move on. We only got a few more things before we get out of here. Have you seen the set photos for Kraven?
Yeah, I did.
Again, it's not much. It's not much at all. But I'm liking a little bit of what I'm seeing. I'm liking a little bit of what I'm seeing. But
yeah, I'm always excited.
I like his look. I like that they're going with that look.
Yeah, I had a feeling it kind of would look like that. So I'm very curious what he looks like in costume. I'm like,
that's what I'm waiting for.
You know, like what is it like? What can he do? He kind of has a Tarzan feel. I'm like, okay, cool. Like,
right.
But
so what we're referring to for the fan base listening is Aaron Taylor Johnson. There's set photos and set videos of them filming Kraven. And really all it is he's in a suit, barefoot, and it's like a car chase. That's really the biggest thing going around.
That's nothing major.
Nothing major at all.
Yes.
But I was just really interested in the decision to go with that look. I was very like, that's okay. Like, I don't really. All right. I thought that was unusual when they gave Danny Rand that look. I was like, okay, well, as long as you don't stick with this, don't stay with that look. That's
don't get too cute. There's a moment where like you guys see what you're doing. Don't get too cute. Don't stick to it. Try to be, spirit. It's all about the spirit of the character.
Absolutely, and they went towards it towards the end of the season too. But that season 1 with the long hair, I was just like, that can't stay. You can't sustain that. You got to get rid of it. So, all right. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever has reportedly wrapped filming. I don't want to ask you anything but this, because this is the only thing you'll actually be able to somewhat be able to answer. Do you think it's still possible it comes out this year? Because I'll go. I don't. I think they will end up pushing it to next year.
I do
believe so. It originally had a December release, I believe.
As a November release right
November.
now.
Shit, I was a month off. November. I think they push it. If they just finish filming now, we're about to be in April. That means you got to get into heavy VFX. You got to get into any possible reshoots you might have to do. So that's cutting it close if it still stays November, December.
November right now. November 11th is the current day.
I think you're cutting
March now. It might be kind of close, but there's still opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, hell, if you can double down, put that shit back out. Same thing. Black History Month next year. Same thing. Double down. Double
next
down.
Month, the Marvels comes out in February.
Oh, shit, that's right. It did move. I forgot.
You have only thing that's open right now is next November.
Oh, yeah, no way they're pushing it to that. Only thing I could see is
unless they move everything down.
What's in March for the MCU?
Nothing.
Okay.
Aquaman in March.
Okay, so I could see Marvels if they, again, this is hypothetical, but I could see that going to March and that going to February.
There's no opening though. We don't. Well, see, it's the thing. We don't know what. I only have what Marvel has. I don't know what Disney might have in March.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Or Disney Animation, or you know what I mean. I don't.
I was about to say all I cared about was Marvel, but you're saying Disney as a whole.
Disney owns everything. Yes, I don't know what's like in terms of like the other IP that they have. Right. I only have what Marvel has, and I know like Aquaman's in March, literally in the middle of March.
Gotcha. All right, I'm with you. Outside of that, there hasn't been. Oh, sorry, biggest news ever that Joel's really excited about. Marvel's developing a project based on Nova with Moon Knight writer Sabir. No word on this will be a film or a series on Disney Plus. I say series. I really do. It's a story that I think you can carve out in 8 episodes.
There was a rumor.
Mm-hmm.
You can keep talking. I have to find it.
Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, so like I know Tia got a chance to check out Moon Knight. I checked out.
Wait, who? Tia?
Yeah, Tia checked out Moon Knight.
I just felt like that. Instead of Chia, you didn't get it? All right, whatever. That was cool in my opinion. You never heard the Chia commercials? The Chia Pets?
Of course I did. I laughed. I completely got it. I didn't I completely got it.
I heard no chuckle.
Bruh, I made those jokes nonstop when Tia first. We couldn't stop making those jokes.
I got it.
Good.
All right, said rumor. Obviously, which iteration of Nova is? It starts out with a question. Which iteration of Nova is Marvel going to use for the cinematic universe? Richard Rider or Sam Alexander? Obviously, at this point, they're saying, like you said, it will be a series, or they feel like it will be a series more so than a movie. Well, I guess it depends. We'll see. The point is that this is basically broad idea, not so much their first go around. So after careful deliberation and laying out the plans for the storylines Marvel Studios wants to use for their in their upcoming phases, it appears that Marvel Studios is looking to utilize both iterations of Nova at the same time. Yeah. The concept would be similar to that of the Insomniac Spider-Man PS4 storyline, in which Richard Rider would already be established as Nova. At the same time, the story could also set up Sam Alexander to take up the mantle as the next Nova, with Rider as his mentor. Yes. The idea somewhat parallels the mentor apprentice concept from Hawkeye, with obviously the tiny detail change. By the end of the movie series, both Novas would still be active in the MCU, with Alexander remaining on the street level status on Earth and potentially interacting with the young superheroes like Ms. Marvel, Kate Bishop, America Chavez, while Rider would take on the larger scale threats across the cosmic corners of the MCU.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say before you read that was, to me, you do the series where you explain Richard Rider and the history of the Novas. And you're going to have to explain to me and Joel specifically how the fuck he existed, and you decided not to show us that during Infinity War when Thanos was there to take the stone.
Where have you been?
Yeah, that's going to be a massive question to answer.
First of all, what makes you different?
That also. But to me, I was always of the mindset, you do a Richard Rider series, 8 episodes. You dig into them. The 8th episode could be discovering or whatever Sam. And you give Sam the movie series, right? And you have them concurrent to each other. And then what you do is, if you ever wanted to add someone, like if they decided to keep the Guardians intact and you wanted someone to be part of that, you now have your answer to that question. If you don't want to, because I don't think Marvel should keep Richard Rider just on the planet. I'm blanking right now. You don't want to keep him just on one planet, right? Not even Hal Jordan stayed on Oa. He would always move around.
But he's the cosmic Nova, so he'll be around the universe.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
He just won't stick to Earth.
Right.
Sam would more or less be that like that. So like what they do with Green Lantern. Like, there's the Green Lantern that's always on duty in space, and then there's the one that's
on Earth duty.
Protects his sector. You know what I mean?
Right. So that's what I'm saying. If you had Richard join the Guardians, that would be really fun and interesting. Because they're just going around the galaxy protecting it. I'm like, that's awesome. And then you have Sam down there. So that, Jesus. So that when they meet back up, Sam's like, hey, I joined the team. And Richard's like, no shit. So did I. Like, meet the Guardians. He's like, meet the Avengers. And it's like, oh, this is awesome. So I'm like, yeah, you could do 2 really fun concurrent things. And let's just keep this rumor away from Trayvon, because Trayvon will think Richard has to die for Sam to.
Sounds right.
Trayvon, we are always only messing with you. We love you, man. Somewhat. You do.
You always want people to die. That's not our fact. It's your fact.
I'm like, that's not how a superhero world should ever work. Like, just no, they died. They're gone. It's like, wait, what? But anyway, yeah. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was, first of all, that Tommy show is really fucking good. Really, really, really good. I'm sad that we only have a few episodes left. I'm like, damn, you have the CW 22 episodes, but Power, you only give me 8 to 10. Make that shit 15. But I did laugh because I thought of you immediately, Joel. So you saw the newest episode, right? I thought of you immediately when Tommy followed the kid, opened the crate, and saw the photo of the kid with his brother. And I said, Joel, the first thing I know Joel said to himself is, all right, now, don't you pull another fucking Tariq. We already got one of these motherfuckers running around. Don't make me wish death on 2 of these children. Don't do it again. That was the first thing I thought, was that Joel was just like, I'm not doing this again. First of all, you thinking that, Tommy has to be thinking, oh, hell no. Like, no. I did this once. No. I saw how that ended. No, thank you. One of y'all's got to get out of the game. Y'all both can't be in the game. That worked out horribly last time. But what are your episodes on this series so far? And your thoughts on this latest episode?
It's been really good. Different. It's in Chicago, so it feels different. It feels different than what we're used to. Whereas most of the series has been in New York, and it feels like New York. Well, I appreciate that you're in Chicago and it doesn't feel like New York, and I like that.
Right.
I really do. It feels like it's a different city, and that's how it should feel. The characters have been there, very interesting. It was actually a sad episode. This girl, you know,
yep.
I wasn't expecting her to die, so that was a little sad. I was like, damn. I thought the dude got shot because it looked like he got shot.
He did. It looked like he got hit across the face, and then it was
I'm like, oh, he got shot. I thought he died, and then he's like, no, we're gonna get up, and then she got shot in the face. Right. Son, I was like, what?
Yep.
Terrible way to die.
And look, he learned the lesson the hard way. You always listen to Tommy.
He always said bounce, and he didn't want to do it. He should listen. You're absolutely right. Should listen.
But to be fair, when that uncle figure came to him, the uncle figure made it seem like Tommy wanted him gone so he could replace him. That's what he made it sound like. He didn't give the full story that Tommy said, hell no, I'm never joining your organization.
Yeah, he was kind of
right. So I'm like, he was working at a disadvantage because he didn't have the full story. If he knew the full story, like Tommy has no interest in working for anybody. Right. You don't have to worry about that. She would still be alive. But yeah, no, that was really sad. I was just like, damn. And I know that's going to hurt Tommy because Remember, he lost. Was it Tanya? No. What was her name?
Tasha?
Lala's character. Was it Tasha? No.
I think it's Tasha, right? No.
No, isn't Tasha Tariq's mom?
Is it?
I
It's
think
been
so.
so long.
God, you know what's even crazier? It hasn't even been because Ghost season 2.
It feels like
ended, and she was in it, and they said her name, and we still forgot. I don't remember, but anyway,
I'll look it up. Yeah, you gotta keep going.
She they just do they do really well with the writing of this show, because this is one of the shows that could have gone really corny really fast, but it's so fucking captivating. Like I'm completely sucked in every week, and it's just like, damn, this is really fucking good. They got me, man. His partner is a freak. She need to get laid or something. She is just like, she's one of those dogs that just humps the air because it's just like, all right, I gotta
her name is Keisha.
Okay, I thought so. Tasha's the Tariq's mom.
Tasha.
Yeah. I'm like, Tasha doesn't sound like that was her name. I think it's Keisha.
Why is she not on here?
Keisha popped up before Tasha? That's interesting.
That's why it's bothering me. Like, okay, I keep going back. I'm like, is that right?
I'm like, that shouldn't be right. Tasha's the main character.
Listen, they got Brayden on here before fucking.
You typed in Power?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Just type in Power season 1, and then you should get it.
It should be Power. She should be like 2 or 3 on the dock.
100% agree. I 100% agree.
Seriously? That's ridiculous.
I don't know what the hell Google's over there doing. Fucked up Google. But
Google.
yeah, I like it a lot. I can't wait to see how this turf war kind of plays itself out. It's gonna be a lot of fun for this Tommy series. I can't freaking wait.
True.
You still didn't get it yet?
Son, I'm about to put Power Book 2 instead.
Oh my God. What the heck? So you trying to find the actress's name or the character?
Both right now, because I can't find her at all.
It's Notori Naughton or something like that.
Naughton.
Hold on. Yeah, Notori Naughton. Tasha St. Patrick.
Oh, it is Tasha.
Yeah.
Tasha.
Man, you had me going for a second. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Because if it's not Tasha, who the fuck was Tasha? Like, do I not know who Tasha was? But yeah, I'm enjoying this show a lot. I can't wait. I hope 50 works out his stuff with Stars so we can get another season of Kanan. We can get another season. I know they said season 3 of Ghosts is being filmed now. So it's a good chance it could possibly come out same time it did this go around, which is like November. That's a good chance. I love this universe. I just really fucking love this universe.
The Power universe is fun. Really is.
It really is. All right, last thing, Flash. I don't know what the hell this show's doing. I don't hate the episodes, the last few episodes I've gotten, but it's very confusing. You take me to the future, you take me to present day. You take me to the future, you take me to present day.
She's right here. My bad. I'm sorry.
What?
It didn't look like her. This picture looks nothing like her, bro.
If it's the same one I saw, I'm with you. I just recognized the Notori.
Yeah, I didn't. And then, like, her Tasha part is like real small print. So I completely looked over. Oh, Notori, no, okay. Looks nothing like her in that picture. I know what she looked like. She was in what's it called? The Lotto Ticket movie.
I was in Notorious.
She was? Oh, right. Forgot she was.
Yeah.
She's been in a lot of shit. Actually, she was in Mad Men.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think many black people would be in Mad Men.
Mad Men is so good.
I thought Mad Men just took place in a time where it wasn't really a big thing.
No, they get into it. You know, there's not a lot of black people, but
yeah, I didn't think so. Joe's like, it's not a lot of people.
No, it's not. It takes a couple of years, and then when they finally show up, they're like, oh, okay, race riots.
Like, whoa, that's black. Didn't expect that. But yeah, so that's pretty much all me and Joel got for you guys. On this. You got one more? What you got? Yeah, what you got?
Confirmations. We have a confirmation for the release date from Ms. Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
which is June 8th.
Oh, wait, we didn't talk about that trailer. Let's talk about the trailer. We didn't. You're absolutely right. We didn't. I enjoyed everything about it. We said it before. It looks like it could leave the door open for a Terrigen Mist in the future. Because again, me and Joel will say this to the death of us. Just because her and Mr. Fantastic's abilities seem similar, that should be a cop-out to do something so drastic.
I don't think that's the reason. Yeah, but I think that's a good. That's been a very popular excuse, but I don't think they do that. But
I mean, I hope not, because to me, it's just like it's like you telling me like, oh, yeah, so you're mutants? Yeah, we just grabbed them out of a portal. It's like you didn't even try to be creative. You were just like, hey, what's the quickest way to get people off of our backs? Boom, yeah, really. Comes right through. So I'm like, no, get creative. But what were your thoughts on the trailer?
I like the trailer. I like it a lot. Sorry. It was very coming of age. Had like a Breakfast Club feel, the 80s. Sort of like a Homecoming kind of felt, kind of like that, which I like a lot. She looks really interesting. Obviously, her powers are different. I do look forward to seeing how that plays out. I think we did talk about this, but it was like on a different show.
It was on a different show. Because I'm like, it's starting to make sense what you're saying.
Right. And I'm like, I think the bands that she finds might be Kree bands, which might be the Nega bands or quantum bands, whatever. Who knows? Whatever they want to call it. And it gives her abilities. And it might be because she's genetically different than most people. And we don't know, whatever they end up explaining to us. But it makes it, at least it connects her powers closer to her favorite hero, which is Captain Marvel, as opposed to like when she was an Inhuman who was just a fan of Captain Marvel, and her powers had nothing to do with it other than the fact that she was a fan. And she ended up taking her former name, which was Ms. Marvel. So she kind of was almost an indirect legacy character. They're going to make her more of a direct legacy character, though Carol was never Ms. Marvel. So I guess that's just a name she's going to choose.
There also, unless I'm wrong, was never used the name Marvel either.
No, I think Marvel was, what was his name?
I think it was Yanrog. Wasn't it Yanrog?
Yanrog was a villain. The lady was Marvel. The old lady.
I know what you're talking about. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Oh, so then that actually could make more sense. To where again, because we're saying so much time has passed, Captain Marvel could have been on Earth for however long. She could have told stories of, yeah, there was this Miss Marvel that,
there was a Marvel, but she was only Ms. Marvel in the comics. You know what I mean?
No. I'm saying if the character in the movie was Marvel, you obviously would have put the pronoun of Miss in front of it would have made more sense. And it makes more sense for Miss Marvel, or Kamala rather, to get the name from something that already existed rather than her just randomly saying, yeah, I want to be Miss Marvel. Yeah,
but what exists is Captain Marvel. So she probably wants to take it from, to be like her hero, Captain Marvel. I'll be Ms. Marvel.
Okay. All right. No argument. Yeah, I'm with you. I just need to hear him beginning. That's it. If I hear him beginning, I'm fine. Everything else I can wrap my head around. That's it. And it looks like she uses it. You see the scene where the fist is really like humongous. Yeah, not her fist, it's the cosmic fist. Yeah. So I'm like, as long as I get some
lantern, there you go.
Yeah, that is what it feels like. But again, like I said, people need to realize the actress had nothing to do with the decision.
Yes, I've been dicks to the actors.
So I'm glad she doesn't have social media, because this world is not.
That's a smart girl.
That's probably her parents that probably decided like, you are not
getting Hollywood. I would get off social media.
Because look, bro, they still are shitting on what's her name from those Star Wars movies. Kelly Marie Tran.
Yeah, Kelly Marie Tran.
So I'm like, bro, if she got it, and her character wasn't even like a take on a past character or something, like it was a completely new character they just didn't like.
Assholes.
Now this actress, you're playing someone that they've seen before. So I'm like, oh, the hate would be at an all-time high. It's best she doesn't have social media. But it comes out June 8th, right?
Yes, June 8th is the release date.
Yeah, so good. So that'll be right after right after we've had a month long of Doctor Strange. Bada bing, bada boom. Miss Marvel's in the room. So I'm very excited to see that. What was your second thing?
What was my second? Oh yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special will be released this year, apparently, according to James Gunn. So that's cool. Looks like we now know what comes out first. So the holiday special will come out this year,
And he
Guardians will
said
be out next year.
it's his most favorite project, but he says that all the time.
Yeah, he says that about everything he works,
which is good, because your best work should be your next work. If your best work is something from 30 years ago, it's like, well, the fuck have you been doing this whole time? So if that's how he feels, good. I don't know what to expect from this holiday special, so it's more so just, all right, I'll wait till the trailer drops. To kind of see where everything fits and everything. So I don't really have it.
Ezra Miller got arrested.
Ezra Miller? Well, I will continuously throw out there Jack Quaid is very much a upstanding individual. No choking females, no arrest. He would be a great Barry Allen.
I wonder if he has an issue, like a substance issue.
He might. Maybe that's why it got pushed back, because we've never gotten.
He's out now. He was arrested and posted bail, which was like $500.
Like $500. Oh, then he didn't do shit. Then
it's $500. No, it wasn't a major crime or anything. He did.
I know people that get arrested for weed that are like $1,000.
He got arrested for disorderly conduct and harassment.
Yeah. You know what it was? It's probably a Snyder fan. I was just like, fuck your movie.
Yeah, that's
and he went bananas. No, but hopefully if there is something wrong, he does get the help he needs, because you want him to be a safe and secure human being in the best light, but also you just don't need anything else to bring down that Flash movie. Anything.
Yeah, really, you really don't. Like, come on, man.
People are shitting on it without like an official trailer. Picture what they'll do is like.
It seems like such a chill dude. So it's like, why do you keep fucking around?
Yeah, I mean, look. Apparently, people really push his buttons, or his buttons get pushed really easily.
Real easily, yeah.
So it's one of those two things for sure.
Yeah, apparently he was at a karaoke bar, and he was yelling obscenities and became agitated when people began singing karaoke at a karaoke bar. You probably shouldn't be there if you don't want them singing karaoke.
Yeah, maybe he thought it was just a regular bar and was just like, why do you keep singing to me? And it's like, it's a karaoke bar. It's like, oh. So I didn't.
It seems like he was a drunken mess. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. And look, to be honest, usually people that sing at karaoke aren't good. So I can understand you're drunk out of your mind and you're like, oh, this is horrible.
He was in Hawaii.
He was in Hawaii?
Yeah, he was in Hawaii.
I don't understand how anyone gets any disorderly conduct.
You're a violent drunk, Mr. Miller. You need to stop drinking.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, get that fixed, bro. That's nothing to joke about. Get that fixed, Ezra. We saw what it did to Ben, so get that fixed.
Sure.
Get that fixed. And if you happen to not get it fixed, I hope you take time to kind of just find yourself and just allow Jack Quaid to be the new Barry Allen. Right.
No problem, dude. If it gets that bad, they won't recast. Apparently, might get Wally West. We'll just go that route. Recast. Why is that a bad thing? Well, it was the Flash for the longest time.
I 100% agree, but you've started with Barry. Keep going with Barry. Just recast.
No, but you obviously don't want to recast, or
they don't need to right now. Right now, it's not an issue.
I'm just saying that they won't recast. They just won't. No one wants to fucking recast anymore, Juwaan.
Well, no, look, time out. They went from Batman to another Batman. Fuck it. Give me Grant's Flash if you want to.
They're not gonna make Grant. They're definitely not gonna make Grant Flash.
Shit. Because to me, that'd be like, all right, Ben's Batman didn't work out, so we're just gonna go Nightwing. It's like, I'm sorry, what?
That is not the same. Wally West was very much the Flash for the longest time.
100%. You are absolutely right.
That is not the same.
And if they started this universe with Wally, there would be no problems. There would be absolutely.
I would introduce him in the next movie just because I don't trust Ezra anymore.
if you do that, Joel, I'd be fine with that. I'm just saying to do that Flash movie and then to go, all right, Ezra's not coming back, so now we're just going with Wally.
No, it would have to be more casual than that.
That's
I'm
what
not
I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Switch the character.
Okay. That because I'm thinking more so like, all right, Ben's out, Michael Keaton's in. It's just like that's weird. Okay.
No,
so I thought you meant more.
It has to be a transition.
Okay, if you're transitioning, then I'm fine with that. I thought you were just saying like, all right, cool, Ezra's out, bring Wally in. And it's just like there's steps to that. Like there's steps to that. That's a huge jump. But yeah, no, all jokes aside, Ezra, please get some help, man. Just for your own sanity, your own safety, man.
Yeah, at this point, you definitely need, you need help, dog.
Yeah, because the last thing you need is people in prison asking you to do that Flash stuff you do. Like, come on, do it. Do the Flash stuff. You don't want that. Yeah. But all right, that's all me and Joel got for you guys. By this time next week, we'll be able to tell you about episode 2 of Halo, episode 1 of Moon Knight. There'll be a lot more stuff coming out. So stay tuned for that. We can't wait to break that all down.
Yeah, Moon Knight this week, right? Moon Knight and Young Justice, I believe, comes out this week. So
yeah, Young Justice, Moon Knight, Halo, Bel Air. What else am I missing? That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, whatever's weekly obviously comes out next. Have you watched Winning Time yet?
What? No. And I'll tell you why. I was about to start watching it, and what's his name on Twitter had said that Magic Johnson had nothing to do with the series. Like the series, that they take a lot of
liberties.
Yes. So I was just like, all right, well, I would like to know like the actual story, like not where you're.
They take liberties, but it does go in the correct order. I've been looking it up as it went along. Now, I don't know how the portrayals are, but historically it's accurate. It's just I don't know how the portrayals of the people. I don't know how accurate that is.
All right, that's fine.
It's literally Norm Nixon's son is playing Norm Nixon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
That's cool.
All right, because I think he was telling me that Magic Johnson was saying a few people weren't like they didn't really.
Oh yeah, the way they portrayed Jerry West is interesting. But there's so many interesting portrayals in this show. I fucking love it. And the way they shoot it is fucking awesome. It's a great show.
They made Magic kind of seem more, and again, I haven't seen the series. I'm just basing off of the trailer. Seemed kind of like a playboy, and it's like that wasn't really Magic. Is he like that?
He got around, but he's not a playboy. Like, not yet, at least, because at least so far he's from Detroit. He had girl, but yeah, Hollywood will get to you.
No, I'm just saying we know that wasn't an issue for Magic.
What? Sleeping around?
No. By that time, when the Lakers were becoming that dynasty, he had already had his wife.
Well, he's
already had his wife
in the middle of a release, still in a relationship at this point.
Gotcha,
in the show.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
They're just literally a training camp still, and 4 episodes in.
Yeah, if Joel tells me to watch it, I'll check it out. I'll put that on my list.
Yeah, I don't know why you would listen to other people saying it's good just because the portrayals are off. Might be a little bit, obviously.
Well, A, I had not heard you say anything about it yet, and B, if they were saying it's not, because he does have an actual documentary coming out, and I'm like, well, if I'm gonna watch something Magic Johnson, I'd rather watch the events come from Magic Johnson's mouth than the events that he's saying. There's a lot of liberties in there that was just not me.
But you also got to remember, a lot of people got to protect their.
100%. 100%. So it was just a split decision I made because I remember I saw it on HBO Max. I was like, all right, I'll check it out. And then I saw I don't know why I can't fucking think of his name. It's another podcaster who loved the show, but then was like, oh shit, I just saw an interview where Magic was just like, I had no parts in that. I got my own thing coming out, and I did check out the interview for Magic.
I remember him saying he was scared to watch it. He's like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to watch it.
I don't know what the fuck's happening here. But I did check out the trailer.
It's R-rated. It's more than R-rated. There's definitely nudity and profanity, but
no, like I said, I will put it on my list to check it out.
Jerry Buss is a player. Jerry Buss is a player. Yes, if you're gonna have someone's a player, it's true.
With that I can believe. That I can 100% believe. I'm almost done with The Last Kingdom, so that'll open up a spot for winning time. So yeah, I'll work it in there.
I really like it. Even if the portrayals are off, it's just fun. Even if it's an alternate reality of what happened, it's still cool.
Well, to be fair, I don't know any of these motherfuckers. Like I said, I only took it because Magic said that.
You will. When you get there, you're like, oh, I know that person. Like, you know Jerry West. You know.
Well, no, I meant more so. I'm not invested in them that I'd be like, oh, that's not accurate. That's what I meant. But when Magic came out and said that it wasn't, I was just like, well, fuck. If anyone would know, he would. So if it's disingenuous, then it's like, well, I don't have to rush to watch it. But if you like it, I add it to my list this weekend.
It's really good. Yeah, I like it a lot. Personally, I like it.
I just can't wait for you guys to check out Moon Knight. Drops this Wednesday. Oh, last thing I wanted to run by you. I was yelling at Trayvon about this. Trayvon and so many people on Twitter were like, when the Netflix heroes were doing the promos for it being on Disney Plus, everyone was like, well, you clearly can't recast any of them now. And I just went, I don't know how you got to that conclusion. Like, they're promoting, because what I think they were forgetting is they're not promoting new shit. They're promoting the old shit that's now on a new home. So I'm like, if you wanted to look into it, one of the people that was promoting it is dead in the series. So I'm like, that didn't really give me any inclination. Like, oh, they'll all be back. Like, no, I didn't come to that same conclusion. I'm not saying that they won't, but I didn't get it from that they'll all be back.
I hope they all come back, but like,
me too.
There's also going to be discrepancies if it's a reality. You have to, like, if they're all soft reboots, I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? Right. I want all the main characters, at least main actors, back. You know, if any of the sporting characters come with them, I'm cool with that. But you know, because I love those shows. I told you, I've been a big fan of these shows for like the longest time, so I do want them all back. But no, I'm not going to sit here and die on a hill that is. Oh, now they're definitely coming back because they promote their own shows that are now on Disney Plus.
Right. I'm like, they're only promoting the shows that actually happen, like the seasons that have actually happened. Not one of them said, all right, I'm like, none of them said, all right, and stay tuned for our new seasons. Like, so I'm like, they just really leaped at like, oh, they're definitely back. It's like, all right, okay, well, I'm not here to ruin your Christmas, but just knowing that gift's not under the tree. Just don't be disappointed. No one told you that. No one told you that everybody would be back. Not one person told you that. But all right, that's all we got. We'll see you guys probably tomorrow for Figure It Out. Wednesday for MCR. Thursday's our off day, unless we have to do Figure It Out on Thursday. Yeah. And then Friday is GVN Talk. And then we actually have a new segment every Sunday. We're going to be doing a list of some sorts. So we did top 7 live action Jokers. We're going to do best animated Batman movie. I think that's what we voted for the next.
Best ever?
Yeah. Well, we're going to list them. We're going to list them.
Tough.
That's very tough. That's why I can't wait to do it. Because I already told him, I said, I'm biased. Mine will probably be all from the New 52, if I'm being completely honest with you. No. My top 5 will be New 52, if I'm being honest with you. I won't lie. I won't sit here and lie. They're going to be high. Sabrina was like, where's Fantastic? Yeah, that's what Sabrina said. She said, where's that going to be? I said, it would be in my top 5 or top 10 for sure. It wouldn't be any lower than 10. It wouldn't be any lower than 10.
It shouldn't be near 10, but okay.
It depends. I got to watch all these Batman animated movies, including that one. I haven't watched that in so long. So I have to give it a rewatch.
Just the score, the way it starts. It's awesome.
I might give it a rewatch tonight. I might actually, as soon as we end this, might go check wrestling recap and then do that. Oh shoot! Yeah, next week we're gonna break down WrestleMania too.
Yeah, next week is Saturday and Sunday, so I do look forward to that. Yeah, next weekend, and we got Morbius this week.
Oh yeah, Morbius this week, and then Sonic in another week and a half.
Next week.
Yeah. Oh, next week. Shit.
Next week.
There you go. Sorry, so it's gonna be a good week, and stay tuned for all the shows that we got. And we got Twitch is on its way. We got Discord on its way.
Oh, Twitch! I thought that was a person. Who's Twitch?
No. Twitch, the stream. No, not the stream.
The service. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yes. Okay. The app.
Whatever. Games. Yeah.
So stay tuned. We got a lot coming you guys this way. And again, I want to give a shout out to the newcomers, Jayla, Sabrina, and Blake. They're freaking awesome. They're great.
Met Jayla, but
yes,
I look forward to meeting all of you in the future.
If you do the MCR Wednesday, you'll meet.
Probably will. Blake. I have no reason not to. As long as I get a nap.
I'll make sure you get your nap so you can talk. You're gonna want to talk Moon Knight, so I know you'll.
Oh yeah, I want to. Yeah, I definitely want to. I can't wait for Moon Knight. I've been so excited. So.
Goodness gracious, Oscar Isaac, chef's kiss. But all right, we'll see you guys same time, same place next week. Till then, peace.